The story kicks off with Alfred talking about himself. I am a hardcore roleplay addict and just your average gamer. Whatever I play, I always pour my heart and soul into embodying my character. I never feel a single ounce of embarrassment or regret about the roles I play.
Right now, he is facing Edmund. The guy lets out a furious roar. Do you pathetic humans only know how to run for your lives?
Then he launches another attack at Alfred. Just die already and get out of my sight. His train of thought continues. Well, at least that was true before I logged into this game. He takes a hit and bitterly curses. This garbage game. Alfred keeps wondering as he clashes with Edmund. Why do I have to go through this kind of pain? I just wanted to play a game to escape reality for a bit. He bites his lips so hard that it starts bleeding. With a long sword in hand, Alfred looks incredibly determined. Now it is my turn. This sight makes Edmund burst into laughter. You can still stand up with that broken body? That is right, just die already. What could a pathetic loser like you even do? He does not forget to add another mocking remark. Right, you just want to die and get it over with, don't you? Meanwhile, Alfred raises his weapon high, thinking to himself, I just want to quit this freaking roleplay game and go home. Pushed to his absolute limit, he screams at the top of his lungs. The moment the sword slashes down, Alfred reveals his true desire. I want to go home! Let's rewind to a little while before the game interface even popped up. User connection confirmed, followed by a short welcome message. Someone's voice echoes out, It all started with my little sister. She ran outside so happily, thinking our father was home. The white dress I bought for her birthday was now stained crimson. Piercing through it was a pitch-black blade that seemed to swallow even the light. Right after, a desperate scream rang out. Irina, no! The brutal scene reflects in Alfred's eyes. Next was the eldest brother, the captain of the Night Order. And right after him was the eldest sister, who took over as leader when he died. The white-haired girl fiercely charged forward to seek justice. You bastard! The blurry memory makes Alfred wonder if there were tears in her eyes at that moment. But even if there were, they were probably quickly drowned out by tears of blood. A hand reaches out toward Alfred from behind, while my mother screams something. She frantically pushes him back. Run away quickly, my son! Was the thing in her hand a kitchen knife? Or my father's sword? Bursting into tears, Alfred screamed out, Please, I am a knight too! But his attempt to join the fight changed nothing. No, you have to run right now! The massacre continues. I think our father had already returned too. And then Alfred confirms it. My memory after that point is completely blank. All I know is that I grabbed a sword. Then, the world around me suddenly turned blood red, faded to stark white, and finally plunged into total darkness, until the only thing left was the faint glow of the moonlight. The blade pierced right through my right arm and sank deep into my flesh. Alfred stumbles, barely able to stand on his feet. Right after, he loses his balance and crashes to the ground. At this moment, an eerie voice echoes from behind. What a perfect vessel. A ghostly hand reaches toward Alfred, despite his desperate pleas. No! The figure touches Alfred's face and continues. Will you become someone great one day? He can only shed tears, helplessly begging in his heart, I am begging you. I hope a soul strong enough to suppress this evil nature comes along. A powerful entity that will not bow down to darkness. Someone who can stand up and defeat the demons. Please, reveal yourself. Can you hear my call? Back in the present, Alfred snaps awake with a loud gasp. He is still completely shaken by those memories. Unexpectedly, George's incredibly impatient voice rang out, interrupting his thoughts. Hey, you! Are you gonna get off the carriage or what? The place where Alves had stopped was the Tatara trading post. He didn't say a word in response to George, nor did he show a single ounce of emotion. But when Alves suddenly stood up, George flinched. Geez, you scared me. Alves stepped down decisively, without uttering a single word. His feet touched the ground with a slow, deliberate pace. George glared at his back, feeling so annoyed that he couldn't help but mutter a curse. What an arrogant jerk. Even if he heard those words, Alves didn't show any reaction at all. But the truth was, Inside, he was screaming nonstop. This role-playing game is absolutely top tier. When I watched the opening cutscene, I thought it was actually my own past for a second. The realistic feel leading into the beginner's tutorial is just insane, and these NPCs look as vivid as real people. If I could, I would have danced right here in the middle of the street. If the opening is already this good, am I going to be able to keep up my character persona? Alves looked at the space in front of him and continued his train of thought. This game just launched today, and this place, the Tatara Trading Post, is the beginner zone. 15 years ago, this tragic masterpiece of a family game was shut down after just 5 years of operation. And what I am experiencing right now is the remake on the Valor virtual reality platform. I am a gamer who has been desperately waiting for the day this game revived, and I'm also a hardcore role player. Alves covered his face and muttered, "This is so edgy it hurts." But then, he had to question himself. Wait a minute, I don't normally add this kind of symbol, do I? I just had an itch to try it out once. Even though I'm just a casual gamer, it's not like I'm some edgy kid trying to look dangerous, right? By now, you guys are probably wondering what kind of character I'm role-playing as, right? Not curious? Whatever, just listen because it is incredibly badass. I even prepared a detailed drawing. Let me show you this character sketch I drew myself, Alves explained at a steady pace. My character class is the Demon Knight, and the difficulty is set to hard. The Demon Knight. When the demon that slaughtered his family took residence in his arm, he turned his back on the righteous path of a knight to begin a wandering journey. Even though he utterly despises the demon in his right arm, it grants him extraordinary power. He uses that very power to hunt down all demons. He uses swift and mighty techniques that perfectly match his violent yet deeply sensitive personality. The demon that murdered my family is now residing in this very arm. I have no idea when it will completely devour me. Alves continued thinking about another terrible scenario. And once I am completely controlled by it, the people around me will also lose their lives, just like my family did back then, by the hands of none other than... Alves affirmed it once more. Myself! Terrified of that happening, I always keep my distance from everyone. Because I'm constantly terrified of being devoured, my mind is always wound up tight. I hide the lonely insecurity in my heart behind a sharp, cold exterior. Right now, he was extremely amused as he told himself. And that is exactly my character persona right there. I spent a ton of money building this concept, but I don't regret a single penny. This trench coat fluttering in the wind, this armored left arm clanking as I move. Alves's little dance in the middle of the street made the people around him wonder. What the hell is wrong with that guy? Is he taking a crap right here? This is exactly why I love role-playing. I usually take on the daily quest of dropping my kid off at school every morning. Hearing their reactions, he immediately regained his cold demeanor. I'm wasting too much time getting caught up in myself. Now, the real role-playing begins. But what should I do next? Let's see. Normally a quest board should pop up around this time, shouldn't it? After waiting for a while, Alves still didn't see anything. Where is the minimap? Where's the quest board? What the heck? Or do I have to just sit here and wait for a story NPC to come find me? But unexpectedly, a voice rang out from behind him right at that moment. Excuse me, are you the Demon Knight adventurer? Alves rejoiced inwardly. Here we go. He slowly turned around to face the person who had just called out to him. Although his face remained expressionless, he was extremely confused on the inside. No dialogue options? I thought at least a few keywords would pop up for me to respond with. There is usually something like that, right? The little boy standing opposite him spoke up again. Is it you, sir? Alves replied coldly. That is correct. It is I. Then he lowered his voice and made a demand. Lead the way. His unapproachable appearance scared the little boy, who obediently agreed. Yes, sir. The boy turned his head and started leading the way. You want to go to the Adventurers Guild, right? Please follow me. Alves watched from behind, secretly evaluating the situation. Look how timid this kid is. He looks exactly like a real child. He imagined himself greeting the boy in a totally friendly manner. "Don't be so scared. I'm actually really friendly." As he walked, Alves continued his observations. How could they design the people and the streets to be this unbelievably realistic? Various conversations echoed all around him. "You have to pay extra." "But what about the profit margins?" "The rebels, those damn demons." He made another assessment, just like with the worker NPC earlier. These lines don't sound like pre-programmed dialogue, they feel like real-time reactions. But no matter how real they seem, they're still just NPCs in a game. VR technology was only commercialized a little while ago, yet the speed of its development is truly mind-blowing. Finally, the boy stopped at a certain place. "We are here." Alves gave a quick glance, slowly looking around. This crowded place was none other than the Tatara Adventurers Guild. The boy approached and quickly called out, "Receptionist, I've brought the adventurer here!" Inside, Alves was screaming non-stop. "Good lord, are this audio and graphics for real? Look at the floor texture. Even the feeling of stepping on it feels exactly like walking on real wooden planks. Did the developers kidnap an alien and force them to make this game or something?" Welcoming him was a girl named Israel. "Ah, you have arrived, sir." She smiled and introduced herself. "It's a pleasure to meet you. I'm Israel, a receptionist at the Tatara Adventurers Guild. Your appearance is so striking that I recognized you immediately. You must be the Magic Knight, right? Following our standard procedure, could you please show me your adventurer's badge?" Anfield glanced at the notification panel that popped up next to him. Inventory. You can open your inventory by reaching into thin air, thinking of the item you want, and clenching your fist. Confused, he thought to himself, "Hey, how am I supposed to see where I'm going with this giant panel blocking my view? Especially when I only have one good eye to see with. Everything else is absolutely perfect, but the status panel placement is totally glitched out. I guess even this game has its human flaws." Anfield pulled out his card, and a moment later, Israel quickly replied, "All right. Your identity has been confirmed. Can I take you to receive your request right now? The client is dealing with an extreme emergency." Hearing this, he slowly agreed. "Lead the way." Following Israel, Anfield felt incredibly excited. Finally, the beginner quest I've been waiting for. If this follows the original game, I already know exactly what's going to happen next, but I'm still so thrilled. However, when Vincent saw him, he immediately made a remark. "This guy looks even more like a freak than the rumors said. There's probably no one else with such a wretched face, but I guess that makes you easy to recognize. So, you accepted the request without even knowing the details? Is that bravery or a death wish?" His blunt way of speaking made Israel chime in, "Guildmaster!" Meanwhile, Anfield judged internally, "Geez, this NPC has a seriously nasty temper." But that's totally fine, since this old geezer is just a bunch of programmed code anyway. That means I can roast this virtual old man all I want without feeling the slightest bit of guilt. But Anfield quickly reconsidered. There are some cases where they won't give you the quest if your affinity is too low. Still, since this is the beginner's tutorial, he has to give it to me no matter what, right? Meanwhile, Vincent kept rushing him. "Are you deaf? Why are you just standing there like a mute?" Israel hurriedly tried to stop him. "Guildmaster, please, mind your words." By this point, he had it all figured out. "All right, I've got my lines ready." Fully immersing himself in the role, Anfield declared, "You have a very insolent tongue." Both Israel and Vincent's jaws dropped at the same time when they heard this. Their reaction left him bewildered. Huh? Why are these NPCs looking so shocked? But right after, Anfield came up with his own explanation. "Don't tell me these NPCs can actually think for themselves. I really should have realized that sooner." Anfield was still wondering as he looked at the scene before him. Why are these NPCs so surprised? Before his eyes was the profile for Vincent, the master of the Mabon Merchant Guild. "Let's see if you can keep that arrogant attitude after hearing the details. Follow me." Reading this, Anfield was puzzled. Wait, shouldn't the quest storyline have popped up by now? Israel was the next to speak. "Magic Knight, are you really accepting this without knowing the details?" He secretly thought to himself, "It's not like I actually want to do this. The game's storyline forces me to, so I'm doing it." But such realistic reactions are exactly what a roleplay addict like me loves. Thanks a lot. Role-playing is a core part of the gaming experience after all.
After thinking for a moment, Anfield slowly spoke up.
So, his attitude clearly showed his displeasure. Are you saying that whatever I'm about to deal with could cost me my life? Anfield even glared and questioned. Those pieces of trash? Israel was absolutely terrified by this reaction. Luckily, Vincent interrupted right then. Instead of talking nonsense, just hand over the job already. If you don't mind taking on this task, we're more than happy to give it to you. Philip explained on his behalf. There's something going on in the underground sewers. We sent a few workers down there, but none of them returned. According to the people who went down after them, they said a demon nest has taken over deep inside. I don't think the missing workers are still alive, so your mission is to wipe out the demon nest and recover their bodies or belongings.
At this point, Vincent chimed in. The demon hunters who went in before all lost their lives down there. The temple is dragging its feet, telling us we just have to wait.
I called you here because rumor has it you've got some skills. But with that scrawny body of yours, can you even lift a sword? His insensitive question made Israel quickly step in. Guildmaster. But the truth was, Anfield was secretly wondering, why hasn't the quest panel shown up yet? Does it only appear after I accept? He slowly replied, Don't lump me in with those weaklings. It's just cleaning up some sewers. That overly confident remark annoyed Vincent. So arrogant. Seeing this, Philip quickly cried out, Guildmaster! Anfield just chuckled to himself, avoiding their gaze. It's true that I acted like that on purpose, but his reaction was so realistic that it almost made me want to explain myself. Whatever. These hyper-realistic NPCs are way better than listening to other players complain. Once again, Israel spoke up to confirm. So you're accepting this mission, right? Anfield answered decisively. That's right. She mechanically began the procedure. Then let me draw up the contract. The primary objective is to exterminate the demons in the underground sewers, and the secondary objective is to recover the workers' belongings. Next, Israel turns to ask Philip, how many workers haven't returned? He quickly provided the information. There are 13 in total. She continued asking, how long is the time limit for this mission? Philip explained in detail. It's 1 month, but since you traveled a long way to get here, I'll give you an extra 2 days. Meanwhile, Anfield was secretly wondering, I've come all the way here and the quest panel still hasn't popped up, having to talk through everything just to push the storyline forward. The developers must be aiming for a hyper-realistic experience. Israel smiled as she talked about the compensation. The reward is 400,000 gals. After deducting the guild's 5% commission fee, you will receive 380,000 gals. The impressive number made him freak out. 380,000? This is just a beginner quest. Why is the reward so massive? And wait, why are they taking a commission fee? Well, it's just in-game money anyway. 5% is nothing. But why does my heart still hurt over it? What is this feeling of loss? She smiled brightly and added, once the paperwork was complete, the contract is all set. Whenever you need to report the mission's completion, just come find me at the guild. Israel turned to Vincent to get his final signature. Sir, please sign right here. Right at that moment, a quest panel finally popped up in front of Anfield. There it is. The quest details read, The Corruptors of the Sewers. Exterminate the monsters. Side quest, Retrieve the lost relics. Reading this, he was slightly caught off guard. He didn't expect the quest panel to only show up after signing a physical contract. These developers are absolute freaks, but this level of realism actually left Anfield incredibly satisfied. Gotta admit, I kinda love this setup. Philip spoke up from behind once more. I've booked an inn under the Merchant Guild's name. One of our men will show you the way. Here's a map of the sewers. You don't need to return it. Seeing the parchment laid out before him, Anfield was genuinely surprised. Wow, even the mini-map is hand-drawn? Philip then gave him a deeply serious look. We are leaving this in your capable hands, sir. Anfield observed him, quietly evaluating the NPC. He's genuinely worried I might not make it back alive. Yet, His eyes and voice are perfectly in character for someone just doing his duty. The NPCs are designed with such mind-blowing detail. My heart's actually pounding. It feels like I'm about to step onto a theater stage. But outwardly, he just gave a cold, detached reply. Once I take the money, failure is not an option. The massive iron gates slowly began to rise. Anfield stood ready, prepared to step out into the darkness. The gatekeeper called out after him. "We're counting on you, sir. Those monsters have been a massive headache for us." Anfield just muttered under his breath. Yeah, I got it. I know." His weapon of choice was the Greatsword of Destruction. A massive blade capable of crushing and obliterating any obstacle in its path. It was guaranteed to strike terror into the heart of anyone foolish enough to stand in his way. And that is exactly why I had to lug this incredibly badass greatsword around, right? The moment he stepped out the gate, Anfield decided to test his weapon. He instantly squashed a rat, but the loud squeak it let out actually made him jump. A look of pure confusion washed over his face. Whoa, why was that so loud? Did the durability just drop? I swear I barely even tapped the thing. The sword's durability read 99 out of 100. Anfield quickly weighed his options. The sewers are probably going to be super cramped. Swinging a giant weapon like this means it'll probably snap in half against the walls. Better switch to something else. He swapped his gear to a different weapon, a standard longsword. It was the most widely used blade, offering perfect balance and high versatility. Satisfied with his choice, Anfield smirked. All right, now I'm ready for a real hunt. With that, he slowly marched forward into the gloom. Oscar watched Anfield's retreating back and muttered under his breath. That guy is every bit as terrifying as the rumors say. He's got the most intense aura out of all the monster hunters I've ever met. Let's just hope his actual skills are as impressive as he looks. A little while later, Anfield was already getting incredibly annoyed. You filthy pieces of trash! He unleashed a flurry of swift, decisive slashes. Come and get it, you damn bugs! His footwork was unbelievably fast and perfectly precise. Anfield slaughtered the pack of goblins with absolute ease. His eyes burned with fierce determination. I'm sending you all straight back to the hellhole you crawled out of. The goblins' mangled corpses were left scattered all over the ground. Anfield pressed forward, scoffing. Boring. That wasn't even a challenge. The quest panel updated in front of him. The corruptors of the sewers. Exterminate the monsters. Retrieve the lost relics. Locate the traces of fallen adventurers. Rescue the missing child. Anfield muttered as he walked. I can't believe they let it get this bad before finally deciding to clean up this mess. A million thoughts were racing through his mind. Also, how have I killed this many monsters without a single piece of loot dropping? This trash game is way too stingy. No wonder the beginner quest paid out so much gold. It's because the drop rates are completely non-existent. Anfield was getting desperate. He was so frustrated, he actually considered digging through the filthy goblin corpses with his bare hands. He stopped and looked up at a figure suspended in the air, bound by thick vines. But that's a bit awkward right now, considering this kid is staring right at me. Without hesitation, Anfield swung his sword and sliced right through the vines. He easily caught the falling boy by the leg. Despite hanging upside down in a very uncomfortable position, the boy politely spoke up. Thank you, sir. This officially cleared one of the quest objectives. Rescue the missing child. Anfield observed the kid, quietly analyzing him. This kid looks a bit older than the little sister from the opening cutscene. Speaking of my character's backstory, I still can't believe the demon that murdered his sister is currently acting as a parasite inside his own body. It's an absolute miracle this guy hasn't gone completely insane. Yet, the character stats just list my personality trait as sensitive. Well, at least I managed to save this kid, unlike my poor little sister who met such a tragic end. I am not the type to rattle off cliches like, this kid reminds me of my sister. But my character would probably be a bit gentler with kids, right? But right before touching him, Alfred asked himself, wouldn't it be a bit too harsh to pat his head with this demon-possessed hand? Still, protecting the weak is a knight's duty after all. Hearing this, Paul calmly looked up and asked, Are you a knight? He just turned his head and casually admitted, of course, I would never be rude to a child. It is partly because of my character settings, but also because these NPCs are just way too realistic. They walked together while chatting. How did you get stuck down here? Patrick simply explained, my mom came down here to clean the sewers and never came back. He even took the blame on himself. So I came down here to look for her. I am sorry. Hearing this, Alfet was deeply moved. Oh man, that sounds incredibly tragic. Kids are supposed to be happy. But on the outside, he coldly reminded him, this is not your business. You should have trusted the adults and waited obediently. The boy awkwardly admitted his fault. I am sorry. This reaction made Alfet want to just hug Paul and comfort him. Oh my God, you poor thing. You did nothing wrong, so why are you apologizing? You came down here looking for your mom and had to suffer in this terrible place. You are making me want to cry right along with you. Outwardly, he corrected him. Do not apologize to me. I am not the one who deserves that apology. He tried handing the relics he just found to the child, and the boy immediately recognized his mother's belongings. The boy sobbed so pitifully. I could not bear to tell him to stop, but leaving him here alone was out of the question. I had no choice but to tuck the exhausted kid under my arm and carry him out. I heard that VR games often use real actors' motion capture for NPCs. They must have hired an incredibly talented child actor to capture this kind of emotion, right? I know full well it is fake, but it is so hard to treat it that way. Once again, Alfet sighed in relief. Thank goodness this is only a game. At that moment, an information panel appeared right in front of him. Purify the demon-possessed areas. They can be purified by burning them with holy power or pure flames. If the purification is not completed, the demons will return. Please ensure that the demons never appear on this land again, Alfet told himself. If I had just read this notification a little more carefully back then, would I have regretted it a little less later on? Patrick rushed inside with a loud shout, requesting backup. Our merchant guild signal flare was just fired nearby. He explained the situation in urgent detail. A red flare. There are mass casualties. Patrick even added an urgent cry. It is an emergency. Meanwhile, on this side, countless people have already lost their lives. The survivors are hiding in absolute terror. Their faces are filled with sheer horror. Alfet's narration opened up another story. Not too long ago, it took quite a while for the child to regain consciousness after leaving the sewers. The boy had optimistically asked, my mom is by God's side and she is happy now, right, mister? Hearing this, he quietly thought to himself, if there is a God in this world, it is definitely the game developers. But, well, unless those game developers are total creeps, she will definitely be happy. How troubling. Israel greeted the two of them with a puzzled expression. Adventurer, what brings you here? She tilted her head in confusion. Who is that child? Alfet briefly explained Paul's background. He is the child of a worker, and I heard he sneaked into the sewers on his own to find his parents. If you want the details, you can ask him yourself. He then held out a bag. Take this too. Israel accepted it with a confused look. What is this? Alfet watched her and quietly wondered. I was only going to show it to you, but you just snatched it right away. It weighs almost as much as a toddler. No joke. Israel curiously asked again, what are these? Hearing this, he calmly explained. The recovered belongings of this boy's mother are in there too. This answer left her feeling somewhat bewildered. Are these the belongings of all 13 people? Alfet frowned in confusion and asked back, what else does it look like? Israel instantly changed her attitude. Oh, it is not that. I will forward them to the client and verify their identities. She began to inspect the items inside. And this whole pile of adventurer badges too. Israel's face visibly softened. She carefully cradled the bag and spoke up. On behalf of the guild, I would like to express my deepest gratitude to you. Alfet thought to himself, if you are grateful, then show some real gratitude. I had to grope my way through the entire sewer without a single quest marker. He had struggled so much back then. Where on earth did all the markers go? Hyper-realistic, my foot. Still, hearing her thank me with such a choked-up voice kind of soothes my frustration. This level of immersion is honestly terrifying. At this moment, Israel spoke up again. So, does this mean your hunt for today ends here? This question completely baffled Alfet. What weird thing is she saying? There is no way a gamer would ever stop grinding. Seeing that he did not respond, Israel changed the subject. Are you planning to go back to the sewers again? But resting for a bit might be better. This question made Alfet even more astounded. Rest? Rest for what? I already smashed my piggy bank to prepare for an all-night gaming session. Wait a minute. What even is an all-night gaming session? That's what happens when you lock yourself in a gaming pod for over 24 hours straight without eating or sleeping. The neural link for this game is ridiculously expensive. Or maybe there's still some hidden chain quest down in the sewers. Was that dialogue a subtle hint for me to go rest and come back because this quest is going to take a while? I don't quite get what you mean. Why would I need to go back down into that sewer? But then Alves had a sudden thought. Is it a purification quest? I only came back up because I didn't want to take suffocation damage. Are you trying to give me a quest right now? You mean you actually expect me to do the purification work too? However, Israel was completely lost. Huh? Purification? She asked in pure confusion. I am only asking just in case. But did you really clear out all the demons down in the sewers? Hearing this, Alves fired back. Well, obviously. Why else do you think I bothered coming all the way back here? Israel hesitated before sharing her thoughts. Just to return the child? He wondered to himself. I didn't even clear the place out that fast. Yet her reaction is incredibly dramatic. This is so annoying. Is she looking down on me? Noticing his annoyed expression, Israel quickly backtracked. I absolutely did not mean any disrespect. Please accept my sincere apologies, great adventurer. As for the child you just rescued, we will take full responsibility for their care. Please wait a moment. I will go get the client who posted the quest. Just follow me. Alves decided to check his status window while he waited. I should take this chance to check my skill tree and look at my recent level ups. Several system prompts popped up. The source of the sewer pollution. Speak with the client to continue. Israel placed a heavy, clinking bag of coins on the table. This is your quest reward. 400,000 gal. Alves was completely blown away by the sight. These game devs are brutal. It looks like quests are the only real way to make money in this game. They really poured everything into making this world as realistic as possible. 15 years ago, quests used to pay absolute pennies, and you had to make a living just from farming monster drops. Philip was the one who explained the rest of the process. We will cover the broker fees ourselves, and we are also willing to offer a great price for any loot you gathered from the demons. Hearing this, Alves had another thought. Now that he mentions it, wasn't there a basic dismantling skill somewhere in the lifestyle tab? Looks like I could have made a decent profit off of that too. Ah well, even if I had known that beforehand, I still would have picked combat skills anyway. Honestly, a few spare coins from a bunch of bugs really aren't worth my time. That thought perfectly summed up Alves' mindset. Exactly. A true hardcore role player has to pick skills that actually fit the character they are playing. Besides, Legend of Heroes isn't a multiplayer co-op game anyway. It is purely single player. That means I can pick whatever I want without stressing over team synergy. I just hope I can unlock even more badass skills later on. Kinda like these ones, Alves quickly reminded himself. But to do that, I need to push through the main story and level up fast. He then turned to the staff. Is this all you need from me? With that, Alves turned to leave. Well then, I have no reason to stick around. I am out of here. Right at that moment, a system window flashed before his eyes. The source of the sewer pollution. Quest completed. The sudden pop-up caught Alves off guard. Geez, that scared me. Just then, a frantic voice echoed from outside. Guildmaster! Guildmaster, are you in here? It is an absolute emergency! Vincent barked back at him. Is there a fire under you or something? Why are you charging in here like a wild horse? Vincent's rough tone made Alves chuckle inwardly. This guy is exactly like those grumpy old men with a heart of gold you see hanging around the neighborhood. The character design in this game is top tier. However, Patrick burst into the room, looking completely panicked. We just received an emergency rescue request. He quickly explained the situation. One of our merchant guild's distress flares was just fired nearby. Vincent gasped in shock. What did you just say? Patrick continued his frantic explanation. We already reported it to the Holy City Guards, but they are dragging their feet. Meanwhile, Alves was busy analyzing the situation. Ah, the classic early game trope. Time to trigger the next quest chain. Hearing this, Vincent immediately charged forward. We pay those scumbags a fortune in taxes, and they do absolutely nothing. Send our own men right now. He even turned and barked an order at Alves. You too! Get moving! Deep down, Alves was already agreeing. Yeah, I am going. But at least let me deliver my cool prepared lines first. Outwardly, however, he kept up his cold and edgy persona. Do not give me orders. But before he could even finish, Vincent rudely cut him off. It is a request. I am begging you, kid. I will pay you a massive reward, so just get out there and come back alive. Alves headed for the door, tossing a glance over his shoulder. Contract accepted. Lead the way. Patrick quickly nodded. Right away, sir. Israel called out after him. Have a safe journey. We will have the official contract ready for you when you get back. The quest details flashed right in front of him. People in distress. Optional objective. Gather with the mercenaries and head to the combat zone. Eliminate the attackers. The reward will scale based on the number of survivors. Alves smiled to himself in satisfaction. Perfect. The quest board finally popped up. Patrick frantically motioned to him. Now, we just need to meet up with the mercenary squad. However, Alves firmly cut him off. There is no need for that. Just lead me straight to the combat zone. Alves's eyes were completely glued to the very last line of the quest description. Although, that last part sounds like a pretty bad omen. But no matter how you look at it, this is obviously a time-sensitive quest. We do not have time to wait around for a bunch of mercenaries. Vincent's gruff voice chimed in from behind them. Just let him go! The kid cleared out the entire sewer completely on his own. He is not going to die that easily. Patrick was absolutely stunned by this information. Wait, he did what? Alves felt incredibly validated hearing that. Spot on, old man. Patrick quickly took the lead. Then we need to leave immediately. The horses are tied up just around the corner. Huh? Hearing this, Alves was bubbling with sheer excitement. Horseback riding? That is a piece of cake. I was actually pretty famous in horseback riding simulators, you know. Alves hyped himself up. Please try to hold on until I get there. My sweet, precious experience points. Above them, the sky was painted a sickening, deadly shade of red. Heavy horse hooves slammed brutally against the dirt path. Both man and horse dashed swiftly through the forest. Alfhad had already joined the battle. Victory belongs to my blade! He wielded the sword in his hand with masterful skill.
The goblins were slaughtered the moment they crossed paths with Alfred.
His face turned dead serious as he declared, Glory to the heavens!
The survivors burst into chaotic cries.
Reinforcements are here! Wait, there's only one guy? Is he the vanguard? Please, save us! Some of them desperately fought back. No, get away! Help is finally here! I can't die now! Suddenly, the goblin standing right in front of them was struck down. Alfred dismounted his horse without hesitation. Then he shot forward like an arrow. He aimed straight for the thickest swarm of goblins. He only slowed down once he got close, speaking up. Did you just beg for your life? Then consider your wish granted. He made a chilling promise. I'll slaughter every last one of these bastards before you bleed out. The survivor looked bewildered. Just you? All by yourself? Alphathed replied coolly. That's not even worth answering. His eyes flashed with a menacing red glow. With overwhelming killing intent, Alfred roared, I'm gonna tear you apart, you damn bugs! He unleashed a flurry of slashes, completely shattering the goblin's formation. All by himself, Alfred tore right through their encirclement. The innocent civilians could only watch in absolute shock. His appearance right now was incredibly bizarre. Someone suddenly gasped, That's... They stared at Alpha in terror. Is he... a monster? Somewhere else, a voice rang out. What is with this insane killing intent? The Inquisitor stated calmly. Archmage, tomorrow at first light, we must head straight to the Tatara trading post. He replied with a question. Why the sudden rush? The Inquisitor gave a brief explanation. I sense an incredibly powerful, demonic aura coming from that direction. The system prompted distressed civilians. Objective, move to the combat zone and eliminate the attackers. Bonus reward, based on the number of survivors. Current count, 30 out of 52. Alphad thought to himself, I know this is a hyper-realistic game, but did they really have to make it so monster guts splash right into my mouth? A young adventurer spoke up. I have no idea who you are, but thank you so much. We owe you our lives. Suddenly, Alphad heard agonizing screams. They're being corrupted by demonic energy. The system prompted. Demonic corruption. Characters attacked by demons have a set chance of their bodies being corrupted by demonic energy. A man was engulfed by swirling black demonic energy. The system continued. As the corruption level rises, the host will suffer various debuffs and may even risk transforming into a demon. The young adventurer asked anxiously, Is there really no cure for this? Another man replied, We only have sedatives, but Alphad thought to himself, Oh, right. The original game had this exact mechanic. In the original game, taking damage from demons raised the corruption gauge by a set amount. The demonic corruption would stack at 20%, 30%, 40%, all the way up to 100%. Alphad realized, I completely forgot about it, since the Demon Knight class is totally immune. I mean, Demon Knights are basically already possessed by demons anyway, so of course they are. Alpha felt a wave of relief. Good thing I still have a few handy items for this in my inventory. The bonus reward scales with the number of survivors anyway, so I might as well use them all right now. He quickly reached into his inventory, bringing up a screen filled with various items. Alphad handed a potion bottle to the adventurer. Here, take this. The young man looked at him in disbelief. Are you sure? Can I really take this? The system prompted. Demonic Purifying Potion. An elixir capable of cleansing demonic energy from a human body. It suppresses demon-induced madness and provides temporary relief. The young man scrambled to say, Thank you so much. Use it, Alphad urged. Then he tossed over a bunch of antidotes, bandages, and sedatives. The young man scrambled to catch them. Whoa, oh man, thank you! Seriously, thank you! The adventurer quickly shouted to the crowd. Hey everyone, this noble lord just gave us medicine and bandages. Get all the wounded and corrupted over here, quick! Alphad felt quite satisfied with himself. No wonder the game gave me such a massive newbie pack. Turns out it's specifically for moments like this. The system prompted, Distressed civilians. Objective, move to the combat zone and eliminate the attackers. Bonus reward, based on the number of survivors. Current count, 27 out of 52. Alphad pondered. Is there anything else left to do? Looks like the survivor count is locked in at 27. Suddenly, he heard the heavy thud of galloping hooves approaching. The survivors' faces lit up with joy. Reinforcements! More help is here! The system displayed, Victims in distress. Quest completed. Alfred thought to himself, Oh, the completion prompt finally popped up. The system continued to display, Victims in distress. Part 2. Collect bodies. 0 out of 25. Retrieve belongings. Unknown. This time, Alfred genuinely didn't understand what the system meant. He wondered, do I seriously have to clean up this entire battlefield again? The system just kept displaying the same information as before. Alfred stared at it in helpless silence. He felt a surge of anger, his pride taking a massive hit. A moment later, Alfred stood leaning against a tree with his arms crossed. He thought to himself, but it looks like the work these NPCs do also counts toward my quest progress. So I might as well just stand here and watch. Two of the reinforcements grumbled in annoyance. So what if he wiped out all the monsters by himself? So arrogant and obnoxious. Just look at him, standing there with his arms crossed, looking all smug. Alfred maintained his cold exterior. but inwardly he was quite pleased. Keep grumbling and cursing all you want. You guys are just a bunch of NPCs anyway. Standing on the sidelines, relaxing and watching others do the heavy lifting feels pretty damn good. One of the reinforcements felt uneasy under his gaze. Why am I suddenly getting the chills? Suddenly, one of the reinforcements spoke up. Why did demons even show up here? I never thought I'd have to experience something this terrifying in the West. If it was a barbarian attack, at least that would make sense. Alfred thought to himself, seeing how they're sneaking in these detailed dialogue lines, this is definitely setting the stage for the next storyline. The two reinforcements continued their discussion. A few bodies have gone missing. Wait, what? Where would a dead person even go? I don't know, but even counting the dismembered corpses, the numbers are just too low. One of them advised, let's just head back to the city for now. Our lives are what matter most. The other spoke up in frustration. They collect so much in taxes, yet they don't even bother to properly clear out these demons. This time, I am definitely going to see the city lord to file a complaint and demand compensation. Alfred pondered. Missing bodies? This is definitely tied to demon worshippers or dark mages. This is guaranteed to lead to a whole quest chain to track down the mastermind. Suddenly, a reinforcement called out to him. Hey, we are done cleaning up. Let's head back. The system displayed victims in distress. Part 2. Collect bodies. 25 out of 25. Retrieve belongings. 30 out of 30. Alfred quickly made his way to the carriage. Let's go! The scene shifted. Vincent spoke slowly. You did well. Alfred replied, just pay me my reward in full, and we are good. Vincent snapped back in annoyance. Do you think I am so poor that I'd stiff an adventurer out of their money? Wait a minute. He suddenly slammed his cane hard against the floor. Oh, and another thing. Vincent glanced at Alfred. I want to give you another assignment. He immediately responded, let's hear it. Philip chimed in, Guild Master, our merchant guild doesn't have anything urgent enough right now to require hiring a new mercenary, do we? Vincent replied testily. What else would it be? Wiping out demons, of course. The location is the Northwest Forest. Isabel quickly spoke up. But Guildmaster, hasn't that area already been assigned to other adventurers in our guild? Vincent scolded her angrily. I have to do this, because there's been zero news about them actually finishing the job. Do you have any idea how many people rely on that Northwest Forest to make a living? I don't have the time to just sit around and wait anymore. Now that I've seen this kid's skills with my own eyes, I've decided to send him in right now. Alfred thought to himself, this old man might be grumpy and rude, but he's actually a good person who cares about others. I kind of like these old-timer character tropes. He spoke up. So, you are saying I just need to go kill the demon in the Northwest Forest, right? Isabel replied. That is correct. If you are that determined, sir, I will process the quest transfer paperwork immediately. However, what about the adventurers who have already headed out? Vincent grumbled. They couldn't do their jobs properly. What does them getting kicked out have to do with me? What exactly do you expect me to do? Philip looked on helplessly as the two argued, while Alfred maintained his emotionless expression. Isabel shot back at Vincent. Well, you still have to pay the contract cancellation fees out of your own pocket. Philip spoke up. Then I'll take it that you agree to accept this assignment. A moment later, Philip told Alfred, it is getting late. I will show you to an inn to rest, and we can discuss the job details on the way. The scene transitioned to the next morning. It was a beautiful, sunny day. The system displayed the lurking danger in the Northwest Forest. Relocate to the Northwest Forest. Alfred was sitting in a horse carriage, being transported to the location. He mentally cursed the game developers. What the hell kind of game is this? They even included a fatigue feature to make it this painfully realistic, riding in a carriage for 10 hours straight. Does this trash game really not have a fast travel feature? What kind of wealth and glory was I even expecting to torture myself playing this miserably? The kid sitting next to him stared with such pure admiration, making Alfred swell with pride. Still, having this little apprentice stare at me like some kind of hero is pretty comforting. I've got to say, the NPC design in this game is absolutely top tier. Just gotta hold out a little longer. Once I clear this quest, the double gold event kicks in. Flashing back to earlier that morning. After spending the night at the inn, an official contract was drafted up by the assistant from the Maven Guild. Philip spoke up. I won't rush you to head out today, but I do hope you can resolve this as quickly as possible. Alfred replied coldly. Name the price. Philip quickly answered. The bounty on that monster's head is 700,000 gal. Alfred was secretly thrilled. Wow, the quest reward is actually 700,000 gal? But on the outside, he kept his poker face. And then, Philip replied, since this is a private commission, I'll pay an extra 200,000 gal out of my own pocket if you bring me its head. Alfred was completely blown away by this, but he felt a bit helpless, seeing Philip's serious expression. No, when I said and then, I just meant, are we going to sign the contract right now? Wait, level 0 negotiation? Whoa, the skill leveled up on its own. I haven't even put any points into negotiation yet. This quest was in the original game too, but I remember it being a really minor side quest. Are these just pre-programmed lines? Or can players actually negotiate rewards themselves, even without the skill? Meanwhile, Philip looked pretty nervous when Alfred didn't respond. He immediately blurted out, Fine, I'll add another 300,000 gallons, but that's my absolute limit. Alfred felt like letting out a long, loud scream of joy. Oh man, it looks like I have a natural talent for making bank. Maybe I should keep acting this cool in real life too. But completely contradicting his inner excitement, Alfred just coldly replied, Understood. Have the money ready. I'll head out immediately. Philip quickly called out, Wait, you're leaving right now? You can totally take a day to rest first. Alfred replied, I have no time to waste while demons still draw breath. Cutting back to the present, he was now sitting inside the carriage. Alfred calculated in his head, Once I grind to max level and have some free time, I'm definitely checking out the real estate system in this game. I bet it's incredibly well made. The kid suddenly asked, Sir, you're an adventurer, right? Alfred thought to himself. Honestly, this character only joined the Adventurers Guild to make a living, but he probably doesn't consider himself a real adventurer. More like a wandering, lone avenger. No, I'm not. The kid awkwardly lowered his eyes and replied, Oh, I see. Alfred felt a pang of guilt. Was I too harsh just now? He quickly added, But I do similar work. Did you have a question, kid? The kid instantly perked up and asked eagerly, Yes. Have you ever seen the ocean? Alfred chuckled inwardly. Aw, how cute is that? The child NPCs in this game are absolutely amazing. Their expressions and movements are just like real kids. Still, he answered with a straight face, I have. The kid asked, What does the ocean look like, sir? Alfred replied, It's a deep blue just like your eyes, and it rolls with soft waves just like your hair. The kid looked amazed. My eyes look like the ocean? Alfred nodded. That's right. A little later, Alfred made a mental note. Aside from my butt being a bit sore, the trip to the Northwest Forest has been pretty peaceful, and I never could have expected what was waiting for me there. Inside the forest, he quickly raised his weapon to block an incoming attack. The girl attacking him, an inquisitor, roared with furious rage. Born as a human, yet you dare betray the Lord. In the name of the Lord, I will punish you. Alfred was completely shocked. I can't believe I'm crossing paths with her of all people. Alfred began making his way deeper into the Northwest Forest. Suddenly, a system window popped up in front of him. The system displayed enemy detection. Enemy detection is the most fundamental element in combat, allowing you to sense killing intent. Alfred was thrilled. I was just wondering how long it would take to find a demon in this massive forest. But with a support skill, that changes everything. The system suddenly flashed red. Hostile target detected within 10 meters. Alfred froze in surprise at the alert. He thought to himself, Wait, what? Already? The Inquisitor roared, Born as a human, yet you dare betray the Lord. In the name of the Lord! She suddenly lunged right at him. The Inquisitor's eyes burned fiercely. weapon in hand and ready to strike. Alfred's eyes went wide with shock at the bizarre situation. He frantically reached for the sword on his back. Alfred quickly drew his blade and blocked the Inquisitor's strike. She screamed, "I will punish you!" Alfred grimaced mentally. That was a seriously heavy hit. My sword's durability is definitely going to drop like a rock after this. He unleashed a powerful forward slash, sending the Inquisitor flying backward. The Inquisitor quickly broke her backward momentum and skidded to a halt. She looks at him coldly, her lips pressed tight with determination. Alfred finally has a moment to observe the Inquisitor. "Someone from the church?" The Inquisitor replies, "That is correct. I am here to execute you." Alfred has no idea what is going on here anymore. A flood of thoughts rushes through his mind. A cleric coming to execute me? Why? Meanwhile, Alfred replies with an emotionless face, "The church I knew was supposed to be a gathering place for those who always do good deeds and show mercy in the name of God. Have you all turned into a bunch of thugs who just use violence against anyone now?" The Inquisitor roars in anger. "How dare a demon open its mouth to speak of violence?" An item on her clothes suddenly emits a powerful surge of magic. The Inquisitor furiously repeats herself, "How dare a demon?" As for Alfred, he wonders in surprise. Am I a demon? Looking at how she talks, she's definitely a cleric class. Since no quest popped up, this isn't an event or part of the storyline. So why would she mistake me for a demon? I don't even have a single cursed item in my inventory, so why on earth would she mistake me for a demon? Suddenly, a thought flashes through Alfred's mind. Ah, right. Wait a minute. Alfred quickly grips his sword. Isn't this a perfect opportunity? The gauntlet was worn out of pure hatred for the demon-possessed arm. She despises demons, but doubts whether someone possessed by one is still human. He quickly concludes, this is a great chance for me to earn some character setting points. Alfred acts furious and snaps, "Do not call me a demon, you fanatic! Victory belongs to my blade! Glory belongs to heaven!" The Inquisitor scolds him angrily. "A traitor corrupted by evil dares to play knight? If you know what is good for you, surrender and face judgment." She quickly charges at him to attack. Alfred secretly agrees. She is right about me playing knight. After all, I have never been officially knighted. He looks coldly at his opponent over the blade in his hand, and with that, Alfred suddenly vanishes from his spot. He declares in his mind, "I am not going to fight fair and square, you know." The Inquisitor looks annoyed. "So cunning! How dare you hide in the shadows?" The system displays Barrier Breaker, coats the weapon in magic, and unleashes a devastating downward demonic slash over a wide area in front. Alfred suddenly reappears and shouts, "Barrier Breaker!" The Inquisitor hastily raises her white shield to block the strike. Alfred attacks her by sending a blast of magic flying her way. The Inquisitor quickly blocks it with her shield. Alfred mocks her. "Keep cowering behind that shield. You look just like a turtle hiding in its shell." The Inquisitor replies coldly, "I will take your head to avenge the souls who have suffered." Her weapon suddenly glows. Alfred feels a bit puzzled. Huh, what does that affect? Is it a power buff or an attack? The Inquisitor raises her glowing weapon toward the sky. "God is always with us!" On the outside, Alfred stands perfectly still with an emotionless expression. But inside, he desperately wants to shield his eyes. Gah! What is with this blinding light? Alfred finally realizes what that move is. It is a skill that boosts both attack and defense. Isn't she using a super overpowered skill? That is a full body stat buff. I wish I had that. I am so jealous. Honestly, isn't that totally broken? In the original game, it only applied to weapons. Since there is a class counter, the 1.3 times damage multiplier probably still applies, right? The Inquisitor continues charging at him. Positioning her weapon in front of her shield, she aggressively rushes forward. Alfred quickly tries to block. She is not attacking directly, just radiating an aura of light. Is she casting a purification spell? Oh well, cleric classes move way too slow to land a hit anyway. I don't know what the level gap between us is, but I am definitely faster. He instantly launches an attack at his opponent. However, the Inquisitor's shield blocks every single strike.
Alfred groans inwardly.
Oh man. It is all useless because her shield has a 100% perfect block rate. He frowns slightly, irritated by this tough enemy. Alfred keeps rushing forward and decides to change his plan. Well then, breaking that shield is impossible. The Inquisitor yells, "If you have nothing to hide before God, then step up and face me, you traitor." Alfred narrows his eyes slightly and smirks when he hears those words. He answers silently in his mind, "I will give you exactly what you want." Alfred immediately lunges forward and slashes head-on at his opponent. The Inquisitor raises her shield to block. The Inquisitor frowns, holding her shield firm against his heavy strike. Alfred seizes the chance and leaps onto the shield to launch himself at her. The system displays. Cleric classes possess incredibly sturdy and heavy equipment, which makes their movements sluggish. The Inquisitor is startled to see Alfred looming right above her. Alfred swiftly dives down. "It is over, you fanatic!" He launched a heavy strike at the Inquisitor, forcing her to use everything she had just to block it. She gritted her teeth in absolute frustration, furious that a guy like him was pushing her back. Alpha thought to himself, on the other hand, the Magic Knight class is something else. He quickly leaped out of the initial clash, ready to strike the Inquisitor from behind. He felt a surge of pride. This class is top tier when it comes to attack speed. He shouted, "Pay the price for running your mouth." Suddenly, another voice cut in. "Oh flames, reduce my enemies to ash!" A blast of fire shot right between them. Alpha was caught off guard. A mage skill? Out here? Olivier stepped forward. "Good heavens! I never expected an Inquisitor to struggle this much. I might be a little late, but I will back you up now." The Inquisitor beamed with relief. "You made it, Archmage." Alpha was completely lost. An Inquisitor? An Archmage? Then it clicked. The third job advancement for a cleric is an Inquisitor, and the third for a mage is an Archmage. Are they seriously talking about third-tier classes right now? So my enemies are a duo of third-tier powerhouses? A tank and healer hybrid paired with a ranged DPS? Meanwhile, I am just a low-level noob who barely finished the tutorial quest. Alpha felt this was completely unfair. A wave of anxiety washed over him. Are they for real? Are they really bullying a total beginner to this extent? This is not just bringing a knife to a gunfight. This is headbutting a mountain. I am dead for sure. Is there even a way to clear this stage? You want me to just die without even letting me turn off the pain setting? Are you kidding me? Panic started to set in. The pain is one thing, but what about the death penalty? Suddenly, a realization flashed through his mind. Huh? Wait a minute, death? He paused. Are they actually supposed to kill me? That is it. Death is a game mechanic too. If dying is part of the tutorial, then maybe kicking the bucket is exactly how I unlock all the main menu features. Alpha finally understood the gimmick. They made this game so realistic, they probably want me to experience the bitter end just for the immersion, right? Real funny, devs. Well, I am ready to go out in peace. He closed his eyes, making peace with the situation. I am dead anyway, so why hold back? I will just act out my role, talk some trash, and go out looking cool. Alpha scoffed. An Archmage? I guess the title of Sage is a thing of the past. Now you just tag along with this reckless brat to bully random travelers. The Inquisitor snapped back. You are the fraud here. Playing innocent when you have clearly formed a pact with demons. The Archmage is simply fulfilling her divine duty. Suddenly, a system alert popped up. Hostile target detected within a 10-meter radius. Alpha defensively glanced over his shoulder. More reinforcements? No, this aura... He spotted a massive serpent slithering toward them. Olivier gasped in shock. Medusa? Alpha wanted to scream. Hey, that was supposed to be my line! The Inquisitor yelled. How dare you play the victim while summoning your vile minions, you traitorous apostle! Alpha replied calmly. Minions? It seems that holy light of yours has blinded you. He stood his ground against the giant serpent. I will chop that demon into 100 pieces, and then I am going to shut that stupid mouth of yours. The system displayed a prompt. Medusa. A demonic entity made of hundreds of snakes swarming around a single red core snake. The swarm will scatter when threatened. The beast unhinged its massive jaw and lunged straight at Alpha. He let out a secret sigh of relief. A boss monster spawning right at this moment? So this was a scripted story event all along. He thought to himself, I knew it. The devs are not crazy enough to permanently kill off a player this early. I believed in you guys. He smirked. Perfect timing, you overgrown worms. Alpha roared with absolute hype. I will bring death to every last one of you. The Inquisitor fumed. Playing dumb so you can team up with it? Olivier quickly held her back. Wait a second. Olivier's face was etched with concern as she trailed off. That guy. Alpha easily dodged a snap from the monster's jaws. Just like the prompt said, Medusa's core is the red snake. Usually, players have to keep attacking the swarm until the snakes scatter to expose the core, but that is way too tedious, right? With a Korean gamer's impatience, who has the time to wait for all that? He let out a cocky laugh, raised his blade, and charged right into the beast. If they made the graphics this realistic, the core's location is painfully obvious. Alpha dashed in and drove his sword straight through the dead center of the monster's body. The monster's blood splattered everywhere, sending the small snakes flying. Alfred kept a close eye on the enemy, positioned right where the snake's heart should be. A single red snake appeared among the swarm of different colors. Alfred instantly knew his prediction was spot on. He tossed his sword behind him. Trying to use it now would only end in a miss. Alfred reached his bare hand straight into the mass of black snakes. In a flash, he pulled out the glowing red one. Alfred quickly dealt with the snake, crushing the life out of it. He felt a surge of satisfaction. Not bad at all. The red snake was finished. So now, he slowly turned his head, making sure his attackers got a good look. Alfred decided it was time to dive right into his dramatic demon hunter roleplay. Alfred dropped the red snake right at his feet. Gathering his strength, he stomped hard on the snake. Alfred looked down at it and realized the snake was completely lifeless. He lifted his foot off the snake, leaving bloody red footprints on the ground. The Inquisitor glared at him with absolute disgust and contempt. Alfred slowly raised his sword. These damn fanatics actually knew their place. I'll praise you for not rushing in and interrupting pointlessly. Now, should I rip that mouth of yours wide open as a reward? Olivier quickly spoke up. Wait, I think there's a misunderstanding. I'm sorry for attacking you. Please, can you just listen to us? The Inquisitor was shocked. A misunderstanding? What are you talking about, Archmage? Do you know why a traitor? No. Why demons fight among themselves? Olivier replied, No, that person isn't someone who made a pact with a demon. The Inquisitor looked completely unconvinced. But he clearly used demonic power, yet you're saying he isn't one? How's that even possible? I was never taught anything like this. Please explain yourself. Olivier answered, It's completely normal that you don't know. This kind of existence has only been mentioned in theories at the Academy. Alfred felt quite amused. She's talking about me. Hearing it explained from a third-person perspective is pretty cool. I should wait and listen, Olivier continued. Normally, a host invaded by a parasitic demon loses their consciousness and turns into a zombie. However, that young man seems to have subdued the demon and taken full control of its power himself. The Inquisitor stumbled over his words in denial. That's impossible. No human willpower can achieve such a thing without the power of God, Olivier replied calmly. Nothing in this world is truly impossible. There are only things that people believe to be impossible. If that isn't the case, then what should we call the young man standing right in front of us? Alfred spoke up with a cold tone. How long are you two going to keep babbling right in front of my face? Feigning anger, he snapped. A zombie? How dare you treat me like garbage? Deep down, though, he was thrilled. Since the original characters were setting up such a fun scene, he had to act with even more passion. This was the perfect chance to confidently show off his edgy persona. Olivier bowed her head in apology. It's entirely our fault. If there's anything you want, I'll do my absolute best to provide it. Alfred thought to himself, The best they'll give me is probably a few spare coins and some beginner armor. Gritting his teeth, he shot back. Damn it, you'll do your best? If I told you both to kill yourselves right now, would you do it? Olivier slowly replied. Well, that is... Alfred cut her off. If you can't do it, then shove those cheap apologies. If it were up to me, I'd rip your jaws off and hang them at the village gates. But if I did that, I'd be no different from those demons. He quickly sheathed his sword. Get out of my sight. Honestly, despite his cold exterior, Alfred was incredibly hyped. This is thrilling. It feels just like bantering with my college buddies. Who knew I could talk this smoothly? You know what? An overpowered character with a trash personality only looks cool when the other side reacts properly. Thanks for that. Suddenly, he stopped dead in his tracks. Alfred suddenly remembered. Oh right, I almost forgot to loot the body. He quickly picked up the bloody red snake. The Inquisitor suddenly called out, Wait! Alfred mentally complained. What now? Are you seriously going to nag me about looting the body? He turned his head, meeting the Inquisitor's jade green eyes. Alfred felt a bit annoyed. Listen here, NPC. A beginner player needs this to complete their quest, the Inquisitor shouted, enunciating every single word. Listen closely to what I have to say. Alfred instantly looked alert. Wait, is this a new quest? At that moment, the Inquisitor stood firmly in front of Anfeld. I'm sorry, too. Seeing him looking so confused, she started to feel flustered. No. Any explanation right now would just sound like an excuse. Please forgive me for attacking you first. Anfeld found this pretty baffling. Didn't elite rich girl NPCs usually defend their pride to the bitter end? He had pictured the Inquisitor arrogantly interrogating him, asking if he felt any shame making money off demon corpses, calling him a monster with zero sense of justice. Unbelievable. Anfeld's silence only made things more awkward. I know repeating it won't do any good, but I'm truly sorry. Now he actually believed her. She was apologizing so sincerely that he felt a little guilty, even knowing she was just an AI character. All right, it was a pretty easy situation to misunderstand anyway. The Inquisitor quickly added, Oh, I'm not just giving you an empty apology. If you want a reward, I'll pay you as much as I possibly can. Her firm attitude caught Anfeld completely off guard. Her AI logic was seriously impressive. Was this some kind of companion recruitment event? He looked around, feeling a bit annoyed. Companions? I don't need them in the middle of nowhere, and it completely ruins my character's roleplay style. With that thought, Anfeld simply turned and walked away. Time to stay in character. I don't need your hypocrisy. Those words made the Inquisitor feel incredibly guilty. It's not hypocrisy. Just listen to me. Right then, a calm voice called out. Inquisitor, calm down. She froze and looked over at the Archmage. The mage stayed completely calm and gently reminded her. More importantly, we should get going too. We already wasted time failing to catch that demon. But since the purification is finished, we need to report back immediately. Hearing that, the Inquisitor looked down and softly replied, You're right. Then she muttered to herself to snap out of it. It's getting late, we need to hurry. Olivier and the Inquisitor quietly trailed along behind Anfeld. Footsteps echoed through the dark forest, but something felt a bit off. The two women behind him were walking at his exact pace, showing absolutely zero signs of stopping. He could sense something was wrong, and a sudden thought popped into his head. Why did the atmosphere suddenly get so suffocatingly heavy? Wait, are they following me? Anfeld glanced up at his system screen. I mean, I have my map open and I'm walking in a straight line back to the village. But can they actually see this map too? Right behind him, Olivier started up a conversation. You worked so hard all week. You must be pretty disappointed that you didn't get to kill it yourself, right? The Inquisitor cheerfully shook her head without a hint of sadness. Not at all. Purification is still my duty as a loyal servant of God. They were completely ignoring Anfeld. What now? The job is done, so we should be going our separate ways. Do you two still need something from me? This is so annoying. He couldn't even hide his irritation. Is there some hidden plot going on here? Maybe I should test the waters. With that in mind, Anfelt put on his best arrogant voice. I thought I told you to get lost. He shot them a nasty glare. Do my words mean absolutely nothing to you people? Even after hearing that, Olivier stayed strangely calm. I apologize if we offended you. We honestly didn't mean to. We are simply following my tracking magic. It seems like we're heading to the exact same destination. Anfelt instantly felt like a total idiot. Oh, so that's it. They aren't stalking me, they're just following their own navigation. Wait, so NPCs have their own mini-maps too? He quickly picked up his pace to get away. That was so embarrassing. I just need to get out of here. Seeing this, the Inquisitor quickly called out to stop him. Wait, where are you going? The forest is way too dangerous at night. Anfelt completely shut her down with a freezing cold tone. It's only dangerous for weaklings like you. Don't force your low standards on me. Deep down, he was desperately praying. Just leave me alone. Please respect my roleplay system. She muttered to herself, her voice full of worry. Walking alone in the dark woods is a really bad idea. Watching Anfelt's silhouette fade into the distance, the Inquisitor turned to Olivier. Archmage, is it really okay to just let him wander off like that? He's incredibly strong. If he ever got possessed by a demon, it would be an absolute disaster. The Archmage rubbed her chin, thinking it over for a long moment. I've never run into a situation quite like this before. Personally, I really hope he doesn't get possessed, but still. The Inquisitor gripped her shield and weapon tightly. Hopes and reality are usually two very different things. I know. Olivier lowered her voice and revealed a little secret. I actually slipped a tracking spell on that young man just in case. Since we seem to be heading the same way anyway, let's just keep a close eye on him. The Inquisitor sighed and agreed to the plan. May God protect him. Under the eerie silence of the full moon, a flock of crows suddenly frantically flapped their wings and flew away. It took quite a while, but the warm lights of the town finally appeared in the distance. Anfelt marched straight up to the front doors of the quest office. The second he stepped inside, he bumped into Israel. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's pretty late, so you'll have to wait a little bit for any new quests to be posted. But before she could even finish her sentence, her face went completely pale at the sight of Anfelt. His face was completely shadowed. An intense, murderous aura surrounded him, and the thick stench of blood was radiating off his body. Eek! The Dark Knight? Anfelt shoved a heavy cloth bag into Israel's hands and coldly demanded, Verify this. She panicked, stumbling over her words as she tried to process everything. Why are you back so early? Wait. Yes, right away, sir. Israel nervously glanced between him and the contents of the bag. Wait, what is this? Why is there a dead snake in here? Her eyes went wide in absolute horror. Oh my God, please don't tell me that. You went to the northeast forest and took down the demon in just 2 days? Deep down, Anfelt wanted to complain, but his facial muscles just wouldn't allow it. Oh, Israel, you have no idea what I went through. He recalled the events of last night. I had confidently turned my back on my NPC party members and set off on foot. But it didn't take long for the harsh reality to hit me. It was an 8-hour carriage ride to get there. At the time, Anfelt thought it was completely absurd. No way, this is just a game. Are they seriously going to make me walk that entire distance? It's supposed to be an entertaining game. There is no way. And sure enough, Anfelt had been walking since the crack of dawn, right? He kept going right through the midday sun in the forest, right? And even as the sun began to set, right? Even late into the night, he was still trying to reassure himself. Yeah, right. At times, Anfelt just had to look up at the sky and curse. No, this cannot be happening. This is a complete walking simulator. I have been walking for a whole entire day. He was planning to camp along the way, but the forest ecosystem was surprisingly diverse. They made this game so realistic that it was actually infuriating. It was a garbage game with an insanely high production value. That was, until the system window announced his arrival at the Tatara trading post, he thought to himself. When I saw that window pop up, I honestly almost burst into tears right then and there. Of course, Israel had no idea about any of this. Oh, let me just confirm this first. The demon in the northeast forest was Medusa. Understood. We will keep an eye on the forest just to be safe. But judging by the situation, it seems you are telling the truth. As soon as the sun comes up, we will verify the information, complete your quest, and hand over your reward. The system window displayed the quest completion details. Anfet was mentally swaying on his feet, but he still tried to look cool. I am so dizzy. Am I getting old? Pulling an all-night gaming session never used to make me this groggy. That was when Israel suddenly remembered. Since you look completely exhausted, I can recommend a good inn for you. On the inside, he was absolutely screaming with joy. Thanks, Israel. Honestly, if I hadn't bought that teleportation scroll yesterday, I probably would have smashed my setup and rage quit this stupid game. Just then, a young boy popped his head in and ran over. Wow, you came back that fast? Didn't he just leave the day before yesterday? Israel grabbed a cloth pouch and gave the boy some instructions. He must be dead on his feet from rushing to finish his quest. Please take him over to the Inn. The boy quickly took the lead for Anfet. Leave it to me. Just follow right behind me, mister. Anfet actually really liked the kid's upbeat attitude. He always looked so bright and cheerful every time they met. Well, at least there was one normal person in this game. As soon as they stepped out the door, the boy started asking about his adventure. What kind of demon did you hunt? Was it super strong? Anfet coldly shot back. Demons are not a topic for casual gossip. Realizing he had overstepped, the boy quickly apologized. I am so sorry. Seeing the kid's face, Anfet instantly felt bad. Oh, I totally intimidated him. I stuck to my roleplay character even though I knew this would happen. I am so sorry for being such a terrible adult. I will definitely give him a massive tip as soon as we get there. I made an absolute fortune today anyway. After finally arriving at the inn, Anfet practically collapsed onto the bed. Should I just log off and rest? Is this even a game anymore? It feels more like doing hard manual labor. Just because my in-game fatigue stat is maxed out, does that mean my real body has to feel this exhausted too? My current fatigue level is sitting at 100%. The system window opened a 6-hour sleep countdown. Anfet groggily mumbled to himself. I'm just going to sleep first. I will decide if I want to smash my setup when I wake up. With that, he reached out and tapped the start button on the screen. As the night deepened, the stars shone brilliantly across the dark sky. The inn rooms were quiet and completely peaceful. Anfet's door remained tightly shut, without a single sound from inside. Suddenly, a shadowy figure began creeping down the hallway. A moment later, the door to Anfet's room was slowly pushed open, just a crack. The intruder tightly gripped the handle of the heavy mace in his hand. He aimed straight for Anfet's head and brought the weapon crashing down. A sudden thought flashed through Anfet's mind. I need to wake up. Right now. Right on cue, the system blared a warning. Hostile target detected within a 10-meter radius. He reached out and quickly grabbed his sword. Just as the mace came swinging down, Anfet managed to block it in the nick of time. Philip gritted his teeth and spat out a curse. Damn it! Anfet braced his body and screamed in his mind. Are you kidding me? I am the one who should be saying that, you absolute lunatic! What kind of garbage detection skill is this anyway? It says a 10-meter radius, but it didn't even warn me until this guy was right on top of my face. With a powerful shove, Anfet quickly knocked Philip backward. How the hell is this guy so strong? Immediately after pushing him back, Anfet shifted into a perfect combat stance with his sword. Anfet coldly swung his blade, sending a sharp slash right toward Philip's chest. Philip was already violently regretting his life choices. Please, spare me! I just wanted to steal your money pouch. Anfet's face darkened, and his voice dropped to a low, threatening growl. Drop your weapon and put your hands behind your head. He immediately realized that sounded completely out of character. Oh my god, seriously? I am supposed to be role-playing an edgy fantasy character, but I keep spitting out dialogue like a modern-day cop. Hearing this, the mace in Philip's hand dropped straight to the floor. He threw up his trembling hands and pleaded, I give up! Please, Just spare my life. Alfred muttered mockingly. I guess these days you just bash someone's head in and bags of money drop out, huh? He was caught off guard when Philip suddenly pulled out a hidden dagger. Actually, that is usually how it goes. Alfred used his Inquisitor to effortlessly dodge the guy's clumsy movements. He casually delivered a swift chop to the back of the neck, knocking Philip out cold. Looking at the lump on the guy's head, Alfred just scoffed. Did you really think you could kill me with that little toy knife? Pathetic, he thought to himself in disdain. Even though I am just a normal player, getting mugged right when I am this exhausted is just so ridiculous I cannot even believe it.
I honestly thought a whole gang of bandits had shown up.
But it turned out to be just a single thief who opened the door and waltzed right in. What kind of lame event is this? Alfred dragged the would-be robber straight out into the reception area.
Israel jumped in shock at the sight.
Oh my gosh!
Even though he had no bad intentions,
his killing intent was suffocating. Sorry for losing my temper, but can I please just get some sleep? Before Alfred could even say a word, she turned pale and let out a huge scream. She couldn't help but stutter out, "Disposing of a dead body!" Alfred tapped his sword hilt against Philip's head. Are your eyes just for decoration? Since when is this guy dead? Right at that moment, the system chimed with a new notification. Hostile target detected within a 10-meter radius. As soon as he glanced over, the Inquisitor came storming in. Did you really commit murder in that short amount of time? Without another word, she immediately pinned the blame on Alfred. I knew it! A walking corpse that still retains its consciousness could only be a demon, the Inquisitor shouted as she swung her weapon, thrusting it straight at him. Alfred quickly took a step back, dodging her fierce attack. He looked noticeably annoyed. Is this troublesome NPC back again? Why does she always have to show up in the most easily misunderstood situations ever? Isn't this plotline a bit too forced? But right now, the Inquisitor was still glaring daggers at Alfred. Her killing intent surged, making the atmosphere incredibly tense. It was a bit of a hassle, but he really did not mind. More importantly, whenever this crazy nun showed up, things got pretty fun, since it perfectly triggered his hardcore roleplay mode. Alfred delivered his final warning. I am pretty sure I told you I would end your life if you kept following me. According to the backstory I completely made up for my demonic knight, there are certain triggers that make him lose his mind and go berserk. Like calling him the spawn of a demon, or saying, in the name of God. And this fanatic nun just loves to aggressively mash those exact buttons every single time we meet. In the name of God, you filthy spawn of a demon, you piece of trash zombie, the Inquisitor growled, trying to completely overpower Alfred. Silence, you filthy demon who dared to steal a human body. He just smiled and let out a long sigh. Right on cue! With that, Alfred widened his stance, shifting his entire body into a combat-ready position. Across from him, a razor-sharp glint flashed in her eyes as she closely scanned him up and down. Alfred softly let out a cold breath. You are just rushing headfirst into your own grave. The dark magic in his hand aggressively surged down the length of his blade. If you do not want to get dragged into a pointless bloodbath, back off. His cold, indifferent gaze narrowed slightly as it locked right onto her. Alfred fully intended to end this right here with one clean, instant strike from his blade. But out of nowhere, someone intervened. Freezing ice chains wrapped tightly around him, completely locking his movements. A binding spell? At just a glance, Alfred recognized it as a classic crowd control skill from the mage class. If that is all it is, this will be incredibly easy. Olivier came rushing in from outside in an absolute panic. Wait, please stop! Seeing her, Alfred smirked and thought to himself, I was wondering where you ran off to, Miss Mage. This binding skill would naturally break on its own if I just waited it out, but I should probably resist to stay in character, right? Since life handed him the role, he didn't hesitate to put on a show. Shut up! The Inquisitor shot Olivier a totally bewildered look. Great Mage, what on earth is going on? Why are you telling us to stop? But before she could even finish her sentence, she noticed Alfred's sword fiercely overflowing with dark magic. With one powerful swing of his arm, the icy chains shattered into a million pieces. Following the momentum, his razor-sharp blade violently slashed horizontally, stopping just a few centimeters from the Inquisitor's face. The sheer destructive force of the swing was so intense that it even ripped through the ceiling. Israel had somehow already dove straight under the desk, her face completely drained of color. Olivier stood there, with her jaw dropped, completely unable to believe what had just unfolded before her eyes. After that explosive strike just now, Alfred's blade was still wrapped in thick, purple magic. The atmosphere in the inn's front hall had become 10 times more tense. The Inquisitor then asked him in a soft voice, "Is it really that easy to break an Archmage's binding skill? How did you do it?" Alfred's lips pressed tightly together, his face growing even darker. But deep down, he was feeling pretty smug. "You figured it out, right? How strange." There were dozens of comments about gamers wanting to tone down the mage's overpowered nature. The binding skill was definitely so broken in the original game that people were constantly begging for a nerf. Olivier let out an awkward cough. "Let's both calm down first. It seems there's been another misunderstanding." The Inquisitor didn't think she was wrong. "What are you talking about? I saw him take someone out with my own eyes. Please, explain this." She was getting a bit annoyed by now. "Inquisitor, has your righteous anger against evil completely blinded you? Take a good look around and see for yourself if that young man actually killed anyone." After taking a look around, she finally realized that Philip was still alive. "A monster!" The Inquisitor's eyes widened like a 3-year-old child's. "Is he really not dead?" She was so astonished that she turned to Alfred to confirm. "Is he actually alive?" On the outside, he looked annoyed, but deep down, he was 10 times happier. "Just as I thought. I wanted to kill him, but I didn't." A moment later, Olivier made a request. "Could you explain the situation if you don't mind? I know it's totally shameless to ask for an explanation after a shoot first, ask questions later kind of attack, but the other guests are out here too. Instead of causing unnecessary misunderstandings, please give us a chance to calm their worries." If it wasn't for her, Alfred wouldn't have even noticed when they all gathered like this. Saying that, he ordered Philip, "Confess it yourself." Alfred kept his unspeakable frustration to himself. "And stop flashing your butt." He trembled and looked back. "Please spare me." Alfred glared as if he could devour Philip at any moment. "Do I have to repeat myself?" He turned pale and screamed in despair. "No! I was after his money! This is all my fault!" He was so generous with the errand boy. I thought he was super rich, so With just that one sentence, Alfred felt a whole lot better. The misunderstanding was totally cleared up. God, I'm exhausted. Without waiting for a response, he turned on his heel to leave. "You all better pay more attention to security from now on. I'm out." The Inquisitor stammered, trying to hold him back. "What? Wait, Mr. Adventurer." He didn't care and walked straight out the door. "I already tossed my unequipped gear into my inventory, so I don't even have to pack. Awesome." Rapid and hurried footsteps echoed behind Alfred's back. After walking a few steps, he froze and thought to himself, "Wait, why did that nun and mage look so familiar? It was too dark and chaotic last time, so I didn't get a good look at them. But seeing them again now?" Alfred's train of thought was interrupted by the Inquisitor. "Wait, you there." At those words, his footsteps stopped, and he cautiously glanced back. The Inquisitor seemed to have chased after him in such a hurry that she was completely out of breath. Alfred stared at her panting figure with eyes full of confusion. Outside the doors of the Tatara trading post, the Inquisitor stopped, panting heavily. He turned his head as if he wanted to get a clearer look. Taking a closer look at this face, this nun, she has bright red hair, the kind of hairstyle people usually call a death flag. And most notably, this Inquisitor also has a combination of sparkling emerald eyes. From these features, Alfred could tell. Isn't this the official nun class character from Legend of Heroes? Right then, Olivier opened the door and ran over. "Inquisitor, rushing out recklessly like that is way too dangerous." She patiently reminded her word by word. If you want to talk, you need to stay calm and think about what to say and how the other person might react. His eyes shifted to Olivier again. Looking closely, the same goes for this archmage. She has a tall and muscular white lion appearance from the Shaggy tribe, a demi-human race. In the game, that's the exact official appearance of the mage character. Alfred couldn't hide his scrutinizing gaze. In the original game, I don't remember any other class characters appearing besides the player, since each character's storyline is fundamentally different. A thought suddenly flashed through his mind. Seeing them trailing me like this, could it be that partying up with NPCs is mandatory? At this point, Alfred clicked his tongue inwardly. I honestly don't want to. If I wanted to join a party, I wouldn't have chosen this roleplay style. With such a high degree of freedom, it's probably not forced, right? Maybe I should test the waters and see how they react. Saying that, he put on a look of utter disgust. Do you not know what shutting up means? Or are the words of a devil's spawn unworthy to reach the ears of a high and mighty noble nun? She was momentarily left speechless. No. What I mean is, I'm sorry. Who knows what the Inquisitor was thinking? But she suddenly squeezed her eyes shut. I didn't expect her to drop straight to her knees in front of Alfred. The insult I've caused you cannot be atoned for with mere words. The Inquisitor even thumped her chest and declared, if an apology isn't enough, then just take my head. Alfred froze, completely dumbfounded by her extreme resolve. Dead silence fell between them. Neither of them said another word. Internally, Alfred was absolutely panicking. Is this woman insane? He couldn't believe those words just came out of a proud nun. Excuse me? I just like playing solo. I'm not some bloodthirsty execution machine, okay? Why is her mindset so damn extreme? Alfred then turned to look at Olivier. Who taught her to think like this? The temple? No, wait. Was it you, Grand Mage? But then, he just felt utterly helpless. Even the Grand Mage was making a face that screamed, oh crap, what do we do? Deep down, Alfred was crying tears of frustration. I have to stop her. But if I refuse her right here, I'll completely break character. Right at that moment, Olivier looked up and met Alfred's piercing gaze. She was instantly scared stiff, her face turning deathly pale. From the Grand Mage's perspective, Alfred was radiating pure, murderous intent. Olivier couldn't hold back anymore and begged, please, have mercy. The Inquisitor only left the temple recently. She knows so little about the outside world. It's mostly my fault for not stopping her in time. So please, punish this old woman instead of her. But the Inquisitor was still fiercely righteous. Grand Mage, please don't do this. It is my fault. Olivier ignored her, desperately pleading with him. I know I have no right to ask this, but please. However, the Inquisitor still wanted to take the fall. Though I lack experience, this responsibility is mine alone. The situation was reaching a total deadlock. Well, there's no other way. I have to handle this myself. Alfred tapped the pocket of his pants. Even though they're just NPCs, this guilt trip is seriously uncomfortable. But what can I do? Actually, this situation is kind of hilarious. Let's just play along. He swiftly drew his sword. I already gave you a chance. Tossing the scabbard to the ground, Alfred's voice dropped even lower. And yet, you chose punishment. At that moment, the Inquisitor could only bite her lip and gently bow her head to accept her fate. Alfred reached out and grabbed one side of her hair. With his razor-sharp blade, he made a clean, simple slash. Even Olivier had to hold her breath, dreading the final outcome. The Inquisitor's hands gripped her weapon tight, trembling violently. She waited, but nothing happened. So she slowly peeked one eye open. Alfred was apparently done, and had already sheathed his sword. The Inquisitor looked down at the ground, and saw that one of her braids had been sliced off. She stared in shock at her newly altered appearance. Gritting her teeth, she looked up, as if questioning Alfred. She couldn't hold back, and stammered, why? The corner of his mouth curled into a smirk. What do you mean, why? This roleplay genius just spared your lives without breaking character once. Alfred rubbed his chin, recalling something. Come to think of it, that girl from the prologue was about her age, and also used a mace. Olivier, meanwhile, was quite worried about the Inquisitor's hair. Good heavens! She was completely baffled by his behavior. Is he really just leaving? Just like that? Before walking away, Alfred just threw back one sentence. Look at your hair. And from now on, watch your mouth. He secretly patted himself on the back. I just got rid of that death flag haircut for you, so you better start valuing your life. Outwardly, however, Alfred remained ice cold. Because next time, the head that falls will be yours. Hearing that, the Inquisitor wanted to say something else to him. However, Olivier quickly held her back. Meanwhile, Alfred was still feeling incredibly proud of himself. Don't you get it? I removed that death flag haircut. Now you have to live a long time. Even if I leave them behind, these top-tier NPCs will just follow me anyway, right? He walked away looking like a total badass, secretly overjoyed and excited to see what event they would trigger next. At the same time, the Inquisitor had regained her composure and asked the Grand Mage. Her voice still had a slight stutter. Did you say that man, no, that lord, is possessed by a demon? Olivier quickly confirmed. Yes, that's right. The Inquisitor stood up and came to a definitive conclusion. Then he must certainly have suffered so much because of that demon. The hatred he had to endure to achieve such overwhelming power is simply unimaginable. And yet, he just walked away. Even though he had the power to act on that hatred, Olivier could finally breathe a sigh of relief. That was true mercy. She couldn't stop looking at Alfred's fading silhouette, moved by his unwavering resolve. Maybe he had actually overcome the demon residing inside his body. She wondered, was that the true strength of his heart? With that, the Inquisitor bent down and picked up the lock of hair from the ground. I still have so much to learn. Olivier smiled and offered some advice. It can't be helped. You haven't been out in the real world for long, so from now on. But before she could finish, the Inquisitor cut her off. And I've realized something. He is absolutely, without a doubt, a necessary person for our journey. The Inquisitor's face was now burning with an unprecedented, fiery determination. Olivier was momentarily stunned by her sudden outburst. For a brief moment, her face showed the serene calmness of an enlightened sage. Looking up at the moonlight illuminating the dark night, Olivier could only sigh inwardly. Oh my gosh! One thing was for sure. Tonight was truly a beautiful night. There were about 2 days left until the seal's time limit expired. Returning to the peaceful town, he could finally drop his fake identity. Taking on any odd jobs to stay hidden, he used the familiar name Gareth Chen. That was his real name in his past life. It was now the next morning, at another inn nearby. Everyone was sitting inside, chatting happily. Gareth Chen stabbed his fork fiercely into the meat in front of him. His expression was growing worse by the second. Seeing him like this, the Inquisitor and Olivier felt a bit awkward. In reality, Gareth Chen was feeling completely relaxed. Why are you guys so late? Did you want to give me a break because you were worried I'd be tired? You worry too much. But on the outside, he maintained a cold facade. He suddenly asked, Is my other eye blind? Or are your ears completely deaf? Gareth Chen thought to himself, should I flip the table or just smash everything? Nah, the food is innocent. I still have a Korean soul after all. Olivier hurriedly stepped forward to explain. Wait, at least hear us out first. I swear you won't regret listening to us. But his attitude was totally dismissive. No, I have absolutely nothing to hear. He coldly turned his face away. Just looking at you guys ruins my mood. As soon as he said that, the Inquisitor awkwardly spoke up. She shouted out in desperation. I sincerely came here because I want to learn from your generosity. After saying those words, her face instantly flushed bright red. Gareth Chen's attitude remained indifferent, as if nothing had happened. He wondered if he was overacting. Since his rejection was so harsh, he had totally broken her character. The Inquisitor bowed her head in apology. Be tolerant and understanding of others, while discarding arrogance and stubbornness. I was taught that my whole life, but I couldn't do it. She clenched her fists tightly. But you're different. You've forgiven my insults time and time again. That definitely couldn't have been easy for you. Her attitude had completely changed. I've finally seen the path I need to take, all thanks to you, the Inquisitor awkwardly explained. I know I've been incredibly disrespectful up until now, but even so, Seeing Gareth Chen unresponsive, she grew even more desperate. Oh no, he just let out a terrifying smile. He didn't know how to react, completely surrendering in his mind. Ever since my otaku days, I've always had a soft spot for characters like this. Come to think of it, even back when I played Legend of Heroes, Priest was my absolute favorite class. Gareth Chen stepped forward and patted the Inquisitor's head. There, it's okay. It happens. You're just so cute. But that was all just in his imagination. He told himself he had to hold it in. He couldn't break character right now. The Inquisitor looked at him with anxious eyes and quickly bowed her head. Did I say something wrong? Was I being disrespectful again? But the harsh reality struck Gareth Chen right in the heart. On the outside, he acted as cold as humanly possible. After thinking for a moment, he spoke up. If your goal was to tick me off, then it's actually quite entertaining. Brad Tran gripped the sword behind his back. It was quite refreshing to see someone wanting to log out in such a bizarre way. Olivier rushed forward. That's not it. Please, just hear me out. He still seemed completely unfazed. There's nothing to hear. The only thing I have for you is this blade. She frantically cut him off. Satan! She yielded as much as she could. If we told you that you could destroy Satan, the Lord of Demons, would you still draw your sword? Hearing those words, Gareth's expression instantly changed. He slowly lowered his sword, yet his face remained terrifyingly serious. What do you mean? Olivier and the Inquisitor quickly stood up straight and tall. The two of them turned to look at each other, both sharing the exact same thought. They clearly understood that solitary, piercing gaze, radiating an unprecedented, terrifying killing intent. He obviously hated demons more than anyone they had ever met. The Inquisitor looked at her reflection on the blade. Now that the name Satan had been spoken, if they dared to hide even a sliver of the truth, this blind man's merciless sword would hack them to pieces. She clenched her fists tightly, but the Inquisitor didn't hesitate at all. Her eyes grew resolute. Because my life is dedicated to the greater good, the Inquisitor knew perfectly well that if she deceived him right now, death would be a fitting punishment. But Gareth paused, thinking to himself. I knew it! The Satan storyline is finally here! He felt incredibly excited. Today's episode is absolutely peak. The story was told about the Inquisitors, which originally meant those who investigated or judged matters of faith. However, in the game, an Inquisitor was the third job advancement of a priest. According to the world's lore, they were the representatives enforcing the temple's will outside the church. Olivier recounted what she knew. Even though she was quite young for an Inquisitor, there was a reason she left the temple. Gareth listened to her in silence. It was all because of a revelation. The Inquisitor helplessly placed a hand on her chest. Even though I'm unworthy, he delivered the message that my mission is to destroy Satan. She looked up at Gareth. However, he also said I couldn't do it alone, and that I had to seek out companions. She kept looking and explained further. Therefore, I sought out the Archmage first, and we set out to find others. Olivier sighed softly. We came back to find you, fully knowing it would annoy you, for that exact reason. The Inquisitor turned to look at her. Archmage, didn't you say everything would be fine? Olivier quickly turned away and let out a few awkward coughs. Gareth's expression suddenly grew even worse. It turned out the girl had been tricked into coming along. She looked so adorable, like a little dumpling, he could barely hold back his laughter. He startled, asking himself, wait, how did this happen? Aren't the players the ones who are supposed to receive that revelation? He grew increasingly indignant. Don't tell me the storyline of this remake entirely revolves around these priests? Seeing Gareth's attitude, Olivier quickly spoke up. So, what about you? She looked a bit hopeful. Will you join us in defeating Satan? A notification suddenly popped up. First step to destroying the Demon King. He pondered in silence. A main quest, she continued her explanation. I've done my research. You're quite a famous mercenary, and word has it you never back down from hunting demons. She looked at Gareth curiously. If we defeat Satan, won't the demons in this country be forced to retreat? He suddenly found it amusing. Someone like her is actually a hero? Olivier placed a hand on the Inquisitor's shoulder. If you need proof, we can go with you to the church. She didn't forget to explain further. Every temple will prove she is a hero. Gareth thought in silence for a long time. What should I do now? Gareth's voice suddenly dropped low. Those words just now. He warned both of them. You better know what's good for you and not lie to me. He observed his companion, the Inquisitor, and the other companion was an Archmage. A system notification appeared. First step to destroying the Demon King, join the subjugation squad. Speak with the Archmage. Brad Tran looked up toward Olivier. Once everything was negotiated, Brad Tran hopped on a carriage and left. He looked at Isabel and the horse behind him. I've joined the subjugation squad, and immediately left the Tatara trading post. He thought to himself, there might be a few events popping up, like the innkeeper begging for another chance, or someone insisting on handing out a reward. Thinking about this made Gareth suddenly feel exhausted. But since he wanted to stay in character and focus on the main quest, he just ignored it all. He couldn't help but feel like something was off. But honestly, Gareth just wanted to avoid the Inquisitor's gaze. Why did she keep staring at him like that? It made him feel a bit awkward. She had been like this ever since he agreed to tag along with the punishment squad, and the pressure was intense. It was like he was the only person in her eyes. Gareth let out a soft sigh. He had clearly been saying nothing but harsh, cruel things to her. He glanced outside. If there was an affinity system, he figured it would have hit rock bottom by now. A notification suddenly popped up in front of him. You can take designated NPCs with you, locate accompanying NPCs, and issue commands to them. Depending on their affinity, the NPC's attitude will change, and this stat will be hidden. Gareth was quite surprised. When he decided to go with them, this message panel appeared. He was really confused. Normally, his affinity would plummet because of his role-playing addiction. He would coldly declare, "Don't even dream that I'll treat you as teammates." Gareth suddenly remembered. Those were the exact words he always used to say. He asked himself, or was her affinity set high by default because she's an early game NPC? The Inquisitor was in a really excited mood, smiling and staring right at him. This made Gareth evaluate her. She was as intense as a kimchi dumpling. He got lost in his thoughts. Ever since she cut her hair and let it down, she looked even more like a steamed bun. Just staring at him with those big round eyes, that mix of being fierce and burning with passion, she honestly looked adorable. His mood suddenly brightened, feeling like she was a child he had raised himself. After a moment of silence, Olivier suddenly spoke up. Hey, she asked curiously, aren't you going to ask us anything? Like whether we actually received a revelation, or where we're going right now and why? Things like that. Gareth didn't know what to say. The simple truth was that they were just game characters, and he wouldn't know what the next map was until they got there. But he still acted tough. If that revelation turns out to be a lie, I'll send you straight to the afterlife. Other than that, I couldn't care less about where you go or what you do. He warned them both. If you have any sense left, you'd better know to tell me what I need to know in advance. Olivier was also surprised. It sounds as if you trust us completely. Her voice was a bit hesitant. Though it's probably just because you find these trivial matters too annoying to deal with. After thinking for a moment, she decided to explain anyway. The temple sent a request to exterminate some demons, and that's where we're heading now. The Inquisitor was about to add more. We support the temple completely independently from the punishment squad. As servants of the gods, helping the miserable is our duty. Gareth suddenly cut her off. I don't care about any of that. He bluntly asked them both. What kind of demons, and how many are there? She quickly reminded him. We only received word that demons had appeared, so we have to get to the temple to hear the details first. Gareth frowned in utter disdain. You useless bunch. A system notification appeared. Demons are lurking in the village. Go to the temple and speak with the bishop. He was quite surprised. Isn't this a main quest? But Gareth didn't really care. Whatever, as long as the story keeps moving forward. He mentally calculated. The actual playtime left in the game is about 1.5 days. Right. Even though he had complained, traveling by carriage like this was definitely going to waste a ton of time. Feeling exhausted, Gareth decided to take a quick nap. He glanced at the two people across from him. They would wake him up whenever they arrived. Seeing him fall asleep, the Inquisitor looked incredibly excited. Last night, she was still sitting in the prayer room. Olivier suddenly knocked on the door. "Inquisitor, may I come in?" She nodded in agreement. "Yes, Archmage." She slowly opened the door. "I think we need to talk." Olivier stepped inside. "You know exactly what it means that he could have taken your life." Her eyes looked troubled. "Don't tell me you don't know how heavy the mission tied to your life truly is." At this point, Olivier didn't know how to explain it. If he hadn't held back then. The Inquisitor suddenly interrupted. "You are absolutely right. I spoke too impulsively and thoughtlessly at the time." She slowly turned her head. "But, Archmage, didn't I also almost mistakenly kill an innocent person?" She blamed herself deeply. Justice is simply violence with a reason, so it must be used carefully and seriously. Olivier sighed. "Never be too overconfident in your own justice." She continued, reminding her, "That is the 9th commandment." The Inquisitor's hands began to tremble. "If I had accidentally killed him then, how many more innocent people would my foolishness have harmed?" She deeply regretted her actions. Does someone like me, who can't even fully grasp the word of the Lord, really deserve to be called a hero? She continued her story. "And yet, through his infinite mercy, he gave me a chance to repent and awaken. When I said those words, I was fully prepared to die." Inquisitor looked straight into Olivier's eyes. "But it was his forgiveness that helped me take one step closer to my true calling." She was deeply moved. Doesn't that make him a messenger, acting on behalf of the gods to teach us the truth? Back in the present, Inquisitor gazed at Gareth Tran, who was fast asleep. She smiled warmly, praying that the gods would grant him a peaceful rest. The carriage carrying the three of them traveled toward a new land. It was already late at night when they arrived at an inn. Gareth Tran was in an absolutely terrible mood. He sighed and cursed in his head. "I just lost 3 whole days in the game. What a crazy, trash game." He felt absolutely heartbroken. If traveling takes this much time, they might as well just ban full dive mode altogether. "My full dive fluid has already burned through hundreds of thousands of gold in cold, hard cash." Gareth Tran angrily looked around. "Since it's come to this, I need to rush through the main storyline as fast as possible with the time I have left." A new quest popped up. Step 1 to defeating the Demon King. Head to the temple and speak with the bishop. Inquisitor smiled excitedly. "Well, that took longer than expected. Let's not waste any more time. Let's head to the temple right now." But she was startled to realize that he had already walked on ahead. When did he leave? She hurriedly chased after him. "Wait for me, Demon Slayer Knight! I'm coming too!" Olivier could only walk slowly behind them. The elderly just can't keep up anymore. Suddenly, she noticed something wasn't quite right. She let out a soft sigh. "I don't know why, but I just feel so anxious and on edge." Up in the sky, a flock of black crows flew in the same direction, as if acting as a bad omen. The scene shifted to the massive royal palace. A short while later, Gareth Tran arrived at the location. Dozens of swords were pointed at him in threat, but he remained perfectly calm. The sage's intuition had come true. A crowd glared at him with eyes full of hatred, shouting a frantic warning. "It's a demon!" Inquisitor quickly rushed over and stood defensively in front of Gareth. She shouted at them, "Listen to me! He's not the enemy!" Only then did a knight notice the mark on her hand, surprised to recognize it as the hero's crest. She spoke with absolute resolve. "I swear on my name as a hero, he is just a victim of the demons, not their minion." The people around them began whispering among themselves. "But he's clearly radiating demonic energy." She's still young, so she probably just doesn't know any better. After all, she only received her revelation recently. "We should report this first." Olivier stepped forward, raising the scepter in her hand. Before anyone could even process what was happening, She slammed it heavily into the ground. Olivier stepped forward with a stern warning. Silence! All of you! Her tone was laced with irritation. The hero already told you to lower your weapons, yet you refuse to listen. Seeing her step up, the crowd exchanged hesitant glances. Finally, they decided to lower their weapons. Since the envoy of God has spoken, we have no choice but to obey. The leader stepped forward with an offer. We will escort you inside. Olivier approached Gareth Tran to explain. Please don't hold it against them. They didn't mean any harm. He frowned and shot back. If they actually meant harm, I would have chopped their heads off a long time ago. But deep down, he was actually thrilled. These misunderstanding events are the absolute best. There's nothing more satisfying than sitting back and letting the NPCs handle the mess for you. He couldn't wait any longer. Let's head inside. Gareth Tran was in a great mood. Watching the two of them act all timid around him was actually kind of cute. He suddenly realized something was off. Well, it's fun and all, but a new challenge was waiting for him. Honestly, because this game is way too realistic, I'm starting to feel drained. After thinking for a moment, Gareth Tran made up his mind. Once I get the information I need, I'm getting the hell out of here. Everyone made their way into the grand hall. The bishop addressed everyone present. I believe we've heard enough about this incident. He offered a polite smile and suggested that since it was getting late, they should all head to the rooms he had prepared for them to rest. The bishop maintained his calm demeanor, adding that if they preferred not to eat together, he could have food brought directly to their rooms. Gareth Tran thought to himself, so this guy just wants us to obediently lock ourselves in our rooms and sleep, instead of snooping around. He asked himself, am I being too paranoid? But with every conversation feeling like a mind game, how could anyone not be suspicious? Gareth Tran stood up decisively. Role-playing was fun and all, but forcing himself to act like this was getting exhausting. Knowing exactly what he had to do, he spoke up in a cold tone. I refuse. Gareth Tran did not care about mincing words. I would rather sleep in the dirt than spend the night in this swamp full of hypocrites. The bishop could not believe his ears. What did you just say? A system notification popped up. A demon lurks in the village. Track down the hidden demon. Options are to question the villagers or search for demonic clues. He let out a soft sigh. The quest had just updated, so it was time to investigate. And I think I already know exactly what kind of demon it is. Gareth Tran suddenly turned on his heel and walked away, making Olivier anxious. Demon Slayer Knight! The Inquisitor was about to chase after him. Please wait a moment! She instinctively reached out and grabbed Gareth Tran by the arm. But this sudden contact made him deeply uncomfortable. He gave her a cold warning. Do not touch me without permission. Realizing what she had done, the Inquisitor awkwardly bowed her head. I am so sorry. Olivier stepped forward and asked him, where are you going? Gareth Tran did not bother explaining much and just turned to leave. What a stupid question. I am going to kill demons. Where else? In his mind, he silently apologized to the two of them. Sorry, but waiting for you guys would take forever. I am just going to speedrun this quest and come right back. Hearing him say that, the Inquisitor quickly offered, I will come with you. Olivier just gave a soft, mysterious smile. She watched Gareth Tran walk away. You are making this old woman feel quite ashamed, she gently reminded her. We should get going too, Inquisitor. The Inquisitor nodded happily. Yes, Archmage. Seeing everyone leave, the bishop was left completely flustered. Damn those heroes. Remembering something, Olivier turned her head back. We truly appreciate your kind attentions, Bishop. She could not hide her annoyance. But our friend is not irresponsible enough to just go to sleep when there is a demon right in front of him. The bishop's face immediately turned sour. About that, the Inquisitor quickly ran after Gareth Tran. Please wait! We are coming with you! She called out to him. Demon Slayer Knight! Meanwhile, outside the door, a black crow had heard everything. It sat in silence, observing the entire situation. Having gathered enough information, the flock of crows flew away. Time shifted to late at night, and the moon was hanging high in the sky. Gareth Tran walked, and thought to himself, Well, we ended up forming a party and going together anyway. Olivier seemed to remember something. All right, now we need to find witnesses to gather some information. He suddenly cut her off. No need. She turned to look at him. Have you already figured out what kind of demon it is this time? Gareth suddenly felt annoyed. This old lady totally knew the answer, but was purposely testing him. The Inquisitor looked at him with innocent, clueless eyes. Could we hear your thoughts on this? She looked like a little steamed bun, which made Gareth Tran want to laugh. He quickly looked away, realizing he almost smiled like a proud father looking at his kid. Gareth Tran gave a cold reply. It is honestly hard to believe that someone like you is a hero, the Inquisitor firmly corrected him. I admit I still have much to learn, but please do not speak to me with such disrespect. She continued to probe. So, what exactly is the demon hiding out here? Gareth Tran turned his face the other way. She gets mocked like that and still tells people not to doubt the will of the gods. She is completely clueless, but I guess it is kind of admirable. He turned and kept walking. It is a drog. The Inquisitor could not hide her surprise. So that is it? If it is a drog, then everything makes perfect sense. Olivier chimed in, sounding curious. Then we should be looking for places with a strong, rotting stench, right? The Inquisitor followed up with a suggestion. If there is a graveyard nearby, that would be the best place to investigate. I heard that drogs are always born from graveyards. Olivier nodded in praise. You certainly know your stuff, Inquisitor. She replied with excitement. I still cannot compare to you or the Demon Slayer Knight. Gareth Tran stood in silence, thinking for a long time, but he was actually holding back his laughter so hard that he was trembling. Seeing this kid grow like this made it nearly impossible not to laugh. I need to focus. Time to think about dark and serious things. He pieced everything together more carefully. Come to think of it, in the original game, this drog incident was exactly what corrupted the village temple and spawned those demon cultists. He felt a bit of anticipation, wondering how things were going to play out in this remake. Realizing something felt off, the Inquisitor suddenly went on high alert. She turned her head to one side. I smell something strange. It's coming from in here. All three of them looked at the narrow alleyway right in front of them. After a moment of thought, Brad Tran pulled out an oil lamp. He held it out to get a better look at the alley. Seeing the corpse lying there, he immediately understood. Just as I thought. It starts now. The Inquisitor's expression suddenly changed. What is this? It seemed things were far more complicated than he had thought. Everything was taking an unexpected turn. Brad Tran held the lamp and stepped closer for a better look. All three of them focused on the corpse swarming with flies and mosquitoes. Even the Inquisitor shuddered at the sight. Dear God. Olivier quickly turned away. I'll go get the guards right away. The Inquisitor nodded in agreement. Yes, please do. He felt a bit puzzled. I thought they just added this stench to the streets to fit the historical setting. Who knew ghouls could leave behind such a horrendous smell just by passing through? Hunting these things solo is going to be a massive pain. Brad Tran held his breath and approached the corpse to examine it. He let out a helpless sigh. We're too late. After a moment of thought, he made a decision. I'll get justice for you. Brad Tran reached out to close the corpse's eyes. Rest in peace. Standing behind him, the Inquisitor clasped her hands together. I will pray for them. As soon as she finished speaking, she began chanting a strange incantation. He sighed softly, thinking, even though I don't believe in any gods, this kind of send-off actually looks pretty decent. Olivier ran back to inform them. The guards will be here to clear the body soon. She continued to deduce. Judging by how strong the stench still is, they were probably killed just a few minutes ago. That ghoul definitely hasn't gotten far. Wasting no time, Olivier used her magic to search the area. She explained to the two of them. This is a tracking spell. She continued her warning. It won't last long, but it's enough for us to catch up. Brad Tran quickly dashed toward the direction of the anomaly. Olivier sighed. He's making this old lady look like a fool again. Let's go. The Inquisitor obediently followed. Right! Noticing the anomaly, she said, I will purify the ghoul's miasma as we move. Seeing the bright light radiating from behind him, he thought to himself, with that, I won't have to worry about getting lost on the way back. Brad Tran's mood suddenly improved. Playing solo or role-playing is fun and all, but having a party makes this stuff way more convenient. Catching on to something, he glanced in a certain direction. Brad Tran came to a sudden halt. The ghoul was long gone. Staring at the path ahead, the Inquisitor cursed in sheer frustration. Damn it! They had completely run out of road. It's a dead end. From behind, Olivier sounded a bit helpless. Geez, it looks like the ghoul phased right through that wall to get away. She quickly suggested, we should get to higher ground and find another way around. Brad Tran thought to himself, in theory that's a good idea, but he asked himself, it's just a game anyway, so why not give this a try? His sudden movement made Olivier anxious. Wait, you're doing it again! Without a second of hesitation, he leaped high into the air. Brad Tran used the narrow walls of the alley to propel himself straight up onto the roof. He wanted to catch that ghoul as fast as humanly possible. Olivier and the Inquisitor could only stare dumbfounded as his figure disappeared above them. Brad Tran successfully scaled the towering wall. Standing from a high vantage point, he scanned the area for any signs of the monster. That brief delay was more than enough time for the ghoul to escape, making his search a bit difficult. The Inquisitor and Olivier hurriedly gave chase. Demon Knight! She called out. Olivier could only sigh in exasperation. What a reckless fool. Neither of them could pull off what Gareth Tran just did. All they could do was stand back and watch him in awe. Thinking back on his own moves, he let out an excited laugh. That was so freaking cool. His whole body trembled with excitement. He hadn't even used any skills yet, but he was already jumping around like this. Plus, the wind resistance and the impact of landing felt insanely realistic. Gareth Tran was totally lost in his own hype. Did I always have a hidden talent for parkour or what? Suddenly remembering the task at hand, he quickly snapped back to reality. He had to find that demon before the tracking spell wore off. Spotting the glowing footprints right in front of him, it all clicked. Ah, so that's how it is. Gareth Tran's expression instantly turned cold. You're just a filthy bug, yet you dare to play these pathetic little tricks to provoke me? He coldly declared. But this little game ends right now. Wasting no time, Gareth sprang into action. He leaped from wall to wall with blinding speed. Right now, absolutely nothing could catch up to him. A thrilled grin spread across Gareth Tran's face. He felt like an absolute superhero. He thought to himself, long live top-tier RPGs like this. A second later, Gareth Tran struck a perfect landing. Glory to the heavens! His gaze turned terrifyingly sharp. Time to claim justice for the fallen. Standing right in front of him was an illusion ghoul, a grave-robbing monster that tricked human eyes just to feast on their flesh. It could even phase through solid rock to hunt its prey. Gareth Tran pointed his blade straight at it. This pathetic game of hide-and-seek ends right here. But then, Gareth Tran suddenly froze. Something wasn't right. He muttered to himself, I thought the system would just auto-load the companion NPCs right behind me. Why aren't they here yet? He groaned in despair. Man, if only Kimchi Dumpling was here to cast a Purify spell right now. This stench is absolutely unbearable. Gareth Tran continued complaining in his head. Plus, now that I am in full 3D, timing these skill dodges is going to be incredibly tough. He debated whether he should wait a bit longer for the NPCs to spawn in. Suddenly, Walter stepped out of the shadows. I knew it was you, Gareth. His tone was disturbingly cheerful. I was just wondering how I was going to skin those heretics alive. He slowly walked up to Gareth. It brings me so much joy that you actually came here to offer up your own life. A twisted, excited grin spread across Walter's face. Gareth Tran! The king has been looking for you! A system notification suddenly popped up. Demon contract! Those who sell their souls to demons in exchange for power, though it's hard to tell if they sold out to the demons or to their own twisted desires. Reading this new lore, Gareth Tran completely froze. Wait. What? He stared blankly at the madman in front of him. King? What king? Why the hell would the king of the demon contractors be looking for me? Seriously, what kind of messed up plotline is this? How am I supposed to roleplay this out? While he was still panicking internally, Walter continued speaking. If those heretics have captured you, I'll gladly lend a hand. Let's go enjoy a festival of slaughter together. Something felt incredibly wrong. Wait a minute. There's definitely no one with this name in the original Legend of Heroes game. He glanced down at the crest on his own armor and completely froze. No freaking way! Time seemed to stand still as the two of them just stared at each other in silence. Gareth Tran thought to himself in horror. Did I just trigger the demon worshipper storyline? Gareth Tran suddenly recalled an old prompt. You have made your choice. An inhuman power has awakened within you. You have gained knowledge that no mortal should possess. You have endured horrific, agonizing torment. And through it all, you have finally broken free from the chains of mortality. You have awakened a brand new power. Now, you are officially on the path to becoming a true demonic knight. Gareth Tran stood there dumbfounded, muttering, "What the heck is this feeling?" But then, his mood completely flipped. Oh well, I was planning on grinding out all the different endings anyway. I guess I'll just try this route for now, Walter called out in confusion. Lord Gareth? Without missing a beat, Gareth raised his sword high. I better just play along and stay in character. Not wanting to waste any more time, Gareth instantly launched a massive attack. His terrifying power exploded forward, completely wiping out everything in its path. He curiously peeked through the dust cloud. Did that hit them? With just one strike, Walter was suddenly terrified. Gareth Chen sighed softly. He's using the troll as a meat shield. Seeing things go south, he quickly changed his tune. I apologize, Lord Gareth Chen. I misspoke when I said you were captured. That was highly disrespectful of me. Please forgive me. Hearing this, he got even more annoyed. Forgive him? He just wanted to end this as quickly as possible. You wouldn't be saved even in hell. In his desperation, Walter hurriedly summoned the troll. Gareth Chen's target now was Drog, who had transformed into a knight right before his eyes. Treating Gareth Chen as the enemy, it raised its weapon high. Of course, he wasn't scared at all, and faced it head-on. Cheap tricks! Gareth Chen's power was absolutely terrifying, making it hard for the Howling Shadow Troll to even resist. He forcefully slashed away the thing blocking his vision. Get out of my way! After just a few moves, the Howling Shadow Troll could no longer stand steady. Seeing that things were tougher than he thought, Gareth Chen frowned. I hate these formless monsters the most. Slashing them felt completely hollow, doing no damage at all. Left with no choice, he charged forward again. That contractor is buffing the troll, making this fight such a drag. After thinking for a moment, he decided to take out the contractor first, to end things quickly. Gareth Chen looked at the weapon in his hand. Besides, I wanted to test this thing out anyway. Not wanting to waste any more time, he leaped into the air. His goal this time was to knock the Howling Shadow Troll backward. Taking the chance, he rushed in again. I used the bash skill earlier, and its effect is still active for the next hit. He had already calculated it. It'll still work even if I don't slash straight down. Gareth Chen's eyes turned resolute. Then let's give it a try. He gripped his sword and dashed toward the Howling Shadow Troll, striking it right in the face. It seemed he had succeeded, as a sudden flash of light erupted. The next second, the Howling Shadow Troll's entire body was completely blown to pieces. Everything returned to normal. A notification appeared. Troll defeated, 1 out of 1. Next mission, capture the demon contractor alive. Gareth Chen sighed and walked up to Walter. The annoying obstacle is gone. He looked at the trembling man before him. Time to meet your maker, you filthy bugs. The guy kept begging. I never intended to touch the Maben Merchant Guild. If I knew Lord Gareth Chen had his eyes on them, I wouldn't have done it even if you paid me. He suddenly found it amusing. So this is the place I had to grind so hard at from the very start of the game. Seeing his reaction, Walter hurriedly spoke up. But Lord Gareth Chen! He didn't give up hope of keeping his life. That kid is no ordinary heretic. He's the most formidable one, even called a hero. He kept explaining, if you hand that person over to the king, you will be heavily rewarded. Right then, Olivia and the Inquisitor rushed over. Demon-slaying knight! The moment he saw her, Walter's expression drastically changed. Crap, you heretic! Gareth's mood suddenly brightened. Nice. I was worried that torturing him for info would ruin my image, and I'd have to just finish him off. He reminded the two of them. You guys are way too slow! The Inquisitor immediately went into a defensive stance. That man is a sinner who sold his body and soul to demons. She quickly channeled her energy. I will fight alongside you, demon-slaying knight. Seeing this situation, Walter looked back at him in despair. Are you really doing this? But why? He cursed non-stop. Why would you betray us, Gareth Chen? He maintained his calm demeanor. Beats me, buddy, but he didn't want to waste time explaining. I don't even know if I'm on your side, or who the heck Gareth Chen is, so why should I care? I'll just keep playing, the game will explain it later anyway. He immediately gestured at Walter. Just drop dead already. Not wanting to waste any more time, he raised his sword high. His expression became even more terrifying. Bugs like you don't get to ask why. Pay for your sins with your life. And just like that, Gareth Chen completed his mission. And with flying colors, too. Time quickly passed, and morning arrived. Everyone gathered inside the Grand Cathedral. Walter was dragged off and locked away in the dungeon. Gareth Chen hung back, watching them walk away. Looking a bit confused, the Inquisitor turned back to look at him. He maintained his cold demeanor. As you can see, that demon contractor managed to keep his life. Flashing back to last night, Walter was trembling and screaming. Gareth Chen was just about to finish him off when Olivier stepped in. She used all her fragile strength to stop him from killing Walter. He glared at her, annoyed. Are you trying to get in my way? Olivier scolded him angrily. Calm down! Capturing him alive is way more useful than killing him. While Gareth Chen was hesitating, she quickly explained. He is not just some ordinary demon. Someone powerful is definitely pulling the strings to summon him. She pleaded with him. Just be patient. We have bigger things to worry about than your anger right now. Back in the present, Gareth Chen turned around and walked away. Internally, he was actually thrilled. Like, I didn't know that. I was just going for a critical hit. You usually have to chip away an NPC's health before you can capture them anyway. A system notification popped up. Live capture can be triggered by depleting a specific amount of the target's health. If the target dies, the mission fails. Gareth Chen kept the system's rules firmly in mind. He suddenly realized something. That status window popping up right after her line must have been an event trigger. Now that I think about it, this remake added a ton of new mechanics. It is pretty fun, giving me that nostalgic vibe while still feeling like a brand new game. Still, Gareth Chen slowly walked forward. He was caught off guard as system warnings kept flashing around him non-stop. This whole time, they were all warnings that his health was steadily draining. Gareth Chen stepped further inside. I kind of wanted to tag along and see how the interrogation goes. But what bothered him was that the deeper he went into the cathedral, the more intense the warning notifications became. I have no choice but to turn back. What else can I do? He wondered to himself. Is it because of this parasitic demon in my arm? This is probably a story hint that will be explained later on. Gareth Chen let out a frustrated sigh. Seriously though, making me do a priest main quest but then locking me out of the cathedral? What kind of logic is that? The difficulty of leveling up this Demon Knight class is a total nightmare. Thinking about it, he chuckled. But I kinda like it. Gareth Chen strolled forward at a relaxed pace. If I wanted a casual gaming experience, I wouldn't have chosen the role-playing route in the first place. Immersive role-playing is the true peak for pro gamers. He suddenly felt a surge of excitement. Of course, to pull off flawless roleplay, your actual gaming skills need to be top tier too. If you are a noob who just wants to pretend to roleplay, nobody is going to want you in their party anyway. Gareth Chen sighed, feeling a bit dejected. Wait, with this kind of system, am I seriously going to have to play with NPCs until the end of the game?
He thought about Olivier and the Inquisitor. Now that those two are gone, it feels kind of empty. It is a bit lonely. And I do not even have anything to do right now.
A side quest popped up. The villain hidden in the village. Talk to the bishop. Gareth Chan immediately guessed what was going on. Looks like the main quest will not progress until the interrogation is over. Unsure of what to do next, he wondered, where should I go to kill some time? Suddenly, the Inquisitor's voice called out, "Hey, Demon Knight!" She came running over, completely out of breath. "Where are you going? Let me come with you!" Gareth Chin could not shake the feeling that something was off. Speak of the devil, and she appears. Do not tell me the system arranged this, too.
He shot her a cold glance.
What about the interrogation? The Inquisitor turned back to him and explained. Having a hero personally interrogate those demon cultists is way too good for them. So, the Grand Mage told me to come and assist the Demon Knight instead.
Gareth Chin instantly figured it out.
She totally ditched you, didn't she? He could already picture Olivier whispering in his ear, "Babysit the kid for a bit, will you?" She stepped closer, looking at him with curious eyes. "Do you have some other business to take care of?" Gareth Chin's expression grew visibly darker. "This is so exhausting," he questioned her with an icy tone. "Do you guys only hunt demons when someone spoon-feeds you the information?" As if realizing some profound truth, the Inquisitor's expression suddenly changed. She looked up at him, her face beaming. "That is so deep and philosophical. I feel like I just learned so much. A top-tier person like you really is on another level." He was left completely speechless. "No, I literally just want to grind for levels." Gretchen shut his eyes in defeat. This was definitely one of those early game NPCs who just hyped up the player all day, right? He took another good look at the Inquisitor. Sure, she was small and talked a lot, but it was honestly kind of cute. But cute or not, he was still an introvert at heart, so it was still a tiny bit exhausting. He had just been complaining about being lonely, and now he was annoyed. Man, people really were fickle. The Inquisitor turned to look at him, but it was already dark, so gathering information now would be tough. After a moment of thought, Gretchen spoke up. "I am heading to the Adventurers Guild." She instantly lit up with excitement. "That is brilliant! They definitely have a ton of quests there, so there has to be one about demons. You are so smart!" He internally kicked himself. Oh crap. I am stuck playing the cold, edgy guy, so I cannot break character. It is not that I hate you or anything, but my character settings literally will not let me be nice to you. This is pure torture. Crying inside, he led the way as the two of them walked together. The scene shifted to a massive building. This was the local Adventurers Guild. Olivier sounded genuinely impressed. I had no idea the Adventurers Guild could be this useful. A veteran adventurer's real-world experience truly is on another level. She nodded in appreciation. I have learned yet another great lesson outside the Magic Tower. Gretchen pulled out his badge. Hand over any requests related to demons. Tristan glanced at the badge and immediately nodded. I have verified your adventurer badge, sir. But demon-related cases are pretty rare. Would a case with suspected demon involvement work instead? Gretchen gave him a cold stare. Hand me the request form. I will read it myself. The receptionist's face completely changed. Wait, you know how to read? Still, Tristan slid the request form over to him. Even if I give this to you, we only have one suspected case, and the temple has already gotten involved in it. The paper detailed a series of recent deaths in the area with an unknown cause. The crime scenes reportedly had a horrible stench. The reward was 500,000 gallons. Gretchen spoke up abruptly. This case is already solved. Tristan looked completely lost. He felt a sudden wave of irritation. 500,000 gal. So we get absolutely nothing, and the temple just hogs all the cash. After thinking for a moment, Olivier suddenly chimed in. Have you heard any news about mysterious disappearances or people suddenly acting strange? The Inquisitor immediately added her piece. It does not even have to be an official quest. Rumors are perfectly fine. Here are our adventurer badges too. Tristan looked up at the two girls. Wait, you two are in his party? He grumbled in annoyance. If you want to chase rumors, go ask around town yourself, or hit up the Information Guild. He took a closer look at their badges. An Inquisitor and a Sage of the Magic Tower? Tristan's face went completely pale. Hang on just a second. Let me rack my brain and recall every single detail since the day I was born. Gretchen was speechless. These titles really carried some weight. This game was way too realistic. He stared blankly at Tristan. The poor guy was internally screaming. I am just working the night shift and VIPs suddenly barge in. Come on, pull yourself together, me. Suddenly he looked up at the trio. Well, it is nothing major, really. Tristan continued. But lately, adventurers have been whispering that the number of pickpockets has dropped significantly. His face turned serious. The number of beggars on the streets has also visibly decreased. I am honestly not sure if there is some sort of disease spreading through the slums right now. Tristan was quick to add a disclaimer. I do not really pay much attention to that area, so do not quote me on that. Is that information enough for you? Before he could even finish his sentence, the Inquisitor slammed her hands on the table in a rage. How dare they do such a thing? She completely lost her cool. Are you saying there are still misguided souls who have forgotten the Lord's grace? Seeing her look like a furious little steamed bun took Gretchen by surprise. She was like a sugar-coated bun stuffed with absolute malice, he thought to himself. That is enough. This little setup is obviously a massive hint to trigger a quest. He gave a firm nod. It seems there are still plenty of demons lurking around here. Tristan looked at him in disbelief. Demons? You mean right here in the city? Olivier chimed in again. I believe this matter is definitely worth investigating. If you hear any new information, could you report it directly to the temple? Tristan nodded obediently. Understood. Gretchen glanced at the poor guy's reaction. Working the night shift was exhausting enough, but getting bullied by VIPs into taking on extra work? What a miserable fate. Oh well, just hang in there, buddy. He turned around and headed for the door. Thank God this guy was just a bunch of pixels and not some miserable office worker in the real world. The Inquisitor watched him walk away. Where are you going? He spoke with a slow, dramatic tone. To the slums. The two girls quickly hurried after him. Olivier smiled and gently reminded her. That is where all the pickpockets and beggars gather after all. Let us get going as well, Inquisitor. The Inquisitor's eyes sparkled with sheer admiration as she looked at him. I have learned something new from him yet again. She eagerly chased after Gretchen. Please, let us come with you, Sir Demon Hunter. He was still feeling extremely grumpy about the whole situation. That constant HP drain he suffered inside the temple was definitely a bad omen. I'm probably going to end up fighting the temple to the bitter end over some misunderstanding later on. He was walking so fast that the Inquisitor struggled to keep up with him. Gareth suddenly recalled her furious reaction. How dare you say that? A wave of frustration washed over him. What should I do? I'm already feeling depressed about this. He trembled in anticipation. Then again, there is definitely going to be an epic cutscene for that part. Just thinking about it gets me hyped. But a game is still just a game. After all, how could I? In reality, nothing had even happened yet. But Gareth was already panicking. He reminded himself not to overthink things. When the time comes, I should just enjoy the ride. A quest popped up right in front of him. Ominous portent. Talk to the beggar pickpocket. He let out an exhausted sigh. Of course, the quest name popped up at the perfect time. The Inquisitor walked right beside him. She asked curiously, Hey, Demon Hunter Knight, do you even know the way to the slums? Gareth snapped back in annoyance. Why do I have to explain every little detail to you? The places where those kinds of people gather are exactly the same in every city, he thought to himself. You just look for a bunch of red dots on the minimap, and boom, you're there. But he couldn't just blurt that out to her. Sorry. The Inquisitor wasn't angry at all, replying, "Understood. I will observe and learn carefully." Gareth thought to himself, on the minimap, any humans with bad intentions or humanoid monsters always show up as red dots anyway. He glanced over at the Inquisitor. Whatever, never mind, Gareth noted seriously. A girl like her, wandering into the slums, really doesn't fit in at all. He reassured himself. I guess it'll be fine, right? Within a short amount of time, the three of them arrived at the rundown slums. Gareth was absolutely furious the moment they stepped into the slums. He snapped. "What did you just say?" Simon stood there awkwardly, completely unsure of how to explain himself. He stared at the situation unfolding before him in sheer disbelief. Her stubborn attitude turned out to be the least of their problems. The Inquisitor yelled furiously. "Swear before God and tell the truth." Her eyes burned with fierce anger. "Are you absolutely certain that the temple's people took them away?" Chapter 16. Not too long ago, Gareth, the Inquisitor, and Olivier had been following the directions on the map. Along the way, she kept a close eye on everything strange around them. Even a passing shadow was enough to catch her attention. The Inquisitor suddenly turned to the two of them. "The atmosphere around here feels really eerie," Gareth thought to himself. No kidding. The minimap is completely swarming with monsters. His expression remained unchanged, looking as if he were deep in thought. He deduced calmly, "It's about time." Suddenly, Shirley dashed straight right at him. Right after that, she scrambled to her feet and tried to walk away. "Oh, my bad." Before she could even leave, Gareth stopped her in her tracks. He questioned her coldly. "You've got some nerve, haven't you?" Her hands immediately began to tremble. Gareth glared at Shirley with sheer disgust. "You better cooperate, unless you want to lose that wrist." He thought to himself, I knew it. There was definitely going to be an event trigger. I saw this coming, so I even prepared my lines in advance. From his experience, RPGs usually marked monsters and quest targets clearly to make them easy to distinguish. But if there were no markers, it meant they would just deliver themselves right to him. Thinking about this, he let out a soft sigh. I specifically took my coin pouch out of my inventory just to use it as bait. In response, Shirley cursed furiously. "Just my awful luck, damn it!" Immediately after, the Inquisitor slowly approached her. The Inquisitor's face contorted with growing rage. She suddenly screamed, "The Lord teaches us not to covet the property of others. According to our doctrine, thieves shall have their hands severed." Olivier suddenly stepped forward to hold the Inquisitor back. She smiled and gently reminded her, "Upholding doctrine and discipline is important, of course, but you can't just rigidly apply it to every single situation." The Inquisitor tried to argue back. "But this is a sinner who blatantly committed a crime right in front of us." Olivier let out a chuckle and explained, "Just as we've learned from the Demon Hunter Knight, sometimes we need to show a little mercy." She suddenly recalled Gareth's demeanor. "Didn't you just say you wanted to learn from his sense of mercy?" The Inquisitor listened quietly. Instead of rushing in, she decided to approach this with an open mind. It seemed those words really gave her a lot to think about. The Inquisitor gave a firm nod. "I don't completely understand, but I'll follow your lead for now. I'm sure you have your reasons." Gareth Chen couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. Wait, did a literal image of Buddha just flash by? She's supposed to be a priest. Is that even allowed in her religion? Sylvie screamed in frustration. "How much longer are you going to keep me here? Just spit it out already. What the hell do you want me to do?" He finally turned his attention to her. "Right." He immediately gave the order. "Lead us to the boss of the pickpockets in this area." The group set off to explore a new location. After jumping through all sorts of hoops, they finally managed to track down the so-called boss of the thieves. The Inquisitor shouted in disbelief. "Are you absolutely sure it was the temple's people who took them?" Simon nodded vigorously. "Yes, I'd swear my life on it. I don't get why you're even asking me this." He looked totally baffled. "Aren't you Inquisitors the exact same people who take them away for rehabilitation?" The Inquisitor felt deeply insulted. "How dare you!" she yelled furiously. "Criminal rehabilitation is only permitted during the specific periods set by the Great Temple. Who would dare to fake a rehabilitation order without authorization?
Gareth Chen couldn't help but sweat drop. Is that really the main issue here? Olivier stepped in to remind her. That's completely missing the point. She immediately snapped back. What could possibly be more important than this?
His expression suddenly shifted. And here I thought this was just the next stage of some side quest. Things were much more complicated than he had anticipated. The Temple Knights were actually the focal point of the Demon Knights storyline. Gareth Chen immediately put the pieces together. Looks like the main storyline kicks off right here. He stepped forward and interrogated the man. When did this start? And how many people have they taken? Tell me everything you know. Simon nodded as he recounted. Yes, sir. The thing is, they started showing up about a month ago. They don't take a lot at once. They just secretly snatch away 1 or 2 people at a time. His hands and feet fidgeted nervously. Honestly, it looks exactly like some human trafficking ring quietly kidnapping people off the streets. Simon quickly waved his hands to clarify. No, I'm not saying that's what they're actually doing. Why would the temple ever do something like that? It's just a comparison. Gareth Chen was highly amused. That is some rock-solid evidence right there, the Inquisitor shrieked from behind them. What did you just say?
Olivier was losing her patience too.
They're abducting people, she stepped forward and demanded. Does this happen on a regular basis? Simon's entire body trembled. Yes, very regular. 2 or 3 times a week. The Inquisitors usually patrol at fixed hours. He cowered and shrank back into the corner. That's exactly why I always tell the kids to never wander outside during those times.
It seemed Olivier had suddenly connected the dots.
Could it be?
Her expression turned deadly serious. Are they using them as sacrifices for the demons?
The Inquisitor stormed forward in shock. What on earth are you talking about? Sacrifices? The church would never commit such a vile act.
Gregor suddenly scoffed at her.
Would never? God, you are so incredibly naive. He stepped closer and gently placed a hand on her shoulder. His voice was completely calm. Believe it or not, anything is possible in this messed up world.
Deep down, Gareth Chen was actually getting excited.
The classic trope where the righteous character grows up after their entire worldview shatters into 1,000,000 pieces. I absolutely live for this kind of drama, he chuckled to himself. It's a bit harsh for a kid, but these are exactly the kinds of events that give a character true depth. Perfect. Absolutely approved. Olivier suddenly asked, where exactly did they take them? Simon racked his brain. Look, I only hear what the kids report back to me. I honestly have no clue. I'm completely in the dark here. Sylvie suddenly chimed in from the back. I know! Seeing her, Gareth Chen was caught a little off guard. She still hasn't run away, even though she's untied? She continued eagerly. I mean, I don't know the exact location right this second, but I do know someone who might. Sylvie's face instantly grew serious. Hearing you guys talk about demons, this must be a pretty big deal, right? Gregor suddenly loomed over her, making her flinch in fear. His terrifying aura made it impossible for her to meet his eyes. What? He seemed to be in a really good mood. So cute. I've always had a soft spot for characters like this kid. Of course, on the outside, Gareth Chen maintained his cold and indifferent facade. He bluntly ordered Sylvie to lead the way. After a long trek, Sylvie had led the group to a completely different part of the area. Monsters spawned here in endless numbers. Gareth Chen didn't even bat an eye and just kept marching forward. Feeling that something was a little strange, she cast a wary glance at the group. After thinking for a moment, she suddenly spoke up. From here on out, this is the real underground district. Siri turned back to warn them. So if you want to pry any information out of them, absolutely do not draw your swords. The folks inside are highly on edge. She glared right at the Inquisitor. Especially an Inquisitor like her. They absolutely despise anyone from the temple. The Inquisitor was about to snap back, saying she didn't want anything to do with filthy thieves anyway. But Olivier suddenly called out to the Inquisitor. Siri went back to leading the way. I am just warning you not to do anything stupid and get me killed along with you. I am only helping because this is an important matter for everyone. Got it?
Seeing the two women bickering, Gareth was taken aback.
How cute. He glanced over at Siri. Was this tsundere NPC doing the whole catfight routine? It was like she was broadcasting to everyone, "It is not like I am worried about you or anything." He got lost in his own thoughts. In a world that actually has beastmen, he wondered if making a cat comparison like that would be considered racist. As soon as the group stepped further inside, Zachary was silently watching their every move. He kept a close eye on everything they did. A system notification popped up. Hostile target detected within 20 meters. Chapter 17. The moment Gareth saw the system warning, he immediately went on the defensive. Siri frantically turned around and snapped. "What the hell are you doing? I told you not to draw your weapons." He calmly replied, "If you don't want me to draw my sword, then you had better lower the weapons you are pointing at me first." He had already noticed Zachary creeping up on them. The man nodded in approval. "Just as expected, you have got quick reflexes." Wasting no time, Zachary sprang into action. In a matter of seconds, he appeared right in front of the group. He took a moment to size Gareth up. Two-toned hair, and armor on one arm, Zachary seemed incredibly sharp. Plus, he is wearing an eye patch on his right eye. There is no way I would not recognize you. He flashed a friendly smile. "Hello there, Sir Demon Slayer Knight." The Inquisitor looked over at Gareth in surprise. "Demon Slayer Knight? Is this guy a friend of yours?" Gareth gripped his weapon tightly. He was completely baffled. Who the hell is this guy? Was he part of the original plot? I do not remember seeing a character like this in my backstory at all. Zachary waved his hands defensively. "Don't get the wrong idea. I only know of you, because you are pretty famous around here." Gareth Chen remained completely deadpan. "Ah, so that was the setting." He coldly demanded, "So, what do you want? Are you waiting for a pat on the back just for recognizing me?" Zachary broke into an excited grin. "Oh, not at all. Actually, I am the one who should be asking what you are all doing down here." He shot the question right back at them. "What brings you folks all the way to our neck of the woods?" Zachary continued his mockery. "I see you even brought those church bastards along. Are you planning to help them with the kidnappings or something?" The Inquisitor exploded in anger. "What the hell did you just say, you little punk?" Siri rushed in front of the Inquisitor to hold her back. "That is impossible. He said they came here to investigate the missing people." Gareth Chen suddenly found the whole situation hilarious. He was just thinking about how those two women were acting like feral cats, and out of nowhere, an actual cat beastman showed up right in front of them. It was honestly a bit disorienting. She emphasized her point to Zachary. He said this whole mess might be connected to the demons. Naturally, Zachary was still highly suspicious. "Hold on a second. Are you saying the demons took those kids?" His expression instantly darkened. "No freaking way." Zachary grew even more skeptical. "Do not tell me the temple is actually involved." Gareth Chen quickly cut him off. "I have no idea. Didn't you hear me say we are here to uncover the truth?" Seeing the tension rising, Olivier stepped forward. "Look, I know the temple's reputation is absolutely in the gutter right now. But we are from out of town, and we are investigating this temple as independent outsiders." She looked Zachary dead in the eye. "Please, just cooperate with us. Shouldn't we be focusing on preventing any more casualties?" Zachary stood frozen in place, deep in thought for a long moment. After a while, it seemed he had finally made up his mind. Zachary snapped his fingers, signaling to his men. When his men emerged from the shadows, he gave them a quick order. "Go and report this situation." One of his men looked at him in shock. "Are you planning to go in there all by yourself?" Zachary gave a confident nod. "If things go south, I am more than capable of slipping out on my own." His subordinate respectfully obeyed. "Understood." Another system notification popped up. "Gloomy omen. Speak with the pickpocket. Proceed to the location where the kidnapped victims were taken." Gareth Chen pondered to himself. The Thieves Guild. Was this NPC just a regular around here? Or was he running an information network on the side? He let out a helpless sigh. The guy looked somewhat familiar, but it was probably too dark to jog his memory. Richeri told the group, All right, follow me. He made sure to warn them. This place isn't going to wait around for you.
Those words made all three of them freeze for a split second.
Olivier sighed and grumbled. I never thought I'd be running around like this at my age. She made sure to add, Don't worry, I won't drag you down. The Inquisitor smiled and looked back. Thanks, Archmage. Gareth Chen had to admit, that was one top-tier buff. He wondered to himself, this quest looks like it pays a fortune, doesn't it? He couldn't shake off a bad feeling, wondering if he'd even finish in time before the dungeon instance timer ran out. The scene shifted to a bustling commercial district. Richerry hid in a small alleyway, scouting the situation. He pointed it out to everyone. It's right over there, the Inquisitor asked curiously. They led the captives inside there. Looking at the storefront, she grew suspicious. A produce shop? Olivier voiced her thoughts. I can feel a barrier. It seems like it was set up by someone incredibly skilled. Richerry looked back and praised her. You've got some skills. Spot on. There's an incredibly strong barrier down in the basement and the warehouse. Gareth Chen's expression remained unchanged as he looked at the system panel. Reach the location where the kidnapped victims were taken, find a way to break in, and locate their traces. He thought to himself, seeing the quest update like this is definitely the place. Olivier couldn't help but feel something was off. Since this barrier is purely for concealment, shattering it shouldn't be too hard. Gareth Chen suddenly asked. There's no mention of stealth in the quest details, right? As if answering him, the system chimed in. Spot on. He marched straight ahead. I'm going in. Richerry frantically reacted. Are you out of your mind? He angrily warned. The guards will swarm us like ants. Plus, we don't know a damn thing about what's waiting inside. Gareth remained completely unfazed. Not my problem. Gareth Chen was more than ready for the next challenge. He coldly announced, Kidnapping is a much heavier crime than breaking and entering. Anyway. Screw it. Gareth Chen charged straight ahead. If you're scared, stay back. Everyone stared at his retreating back. So much had happened that he was just drained. Being this exhausted meant he just blurted out whatever came to mind. He wondered to himself, they're just NPCs, so they'll auto-follow me anyway, right? Utterly baffled, Richerry turned around and asked, is he always this reckless? Olivier chuckled and explained. We've only known each other for less than a week, she added with a confident tone. But I can tell he has the strength and the guts to pull it off. The Inquisitor calmly stated, just yesterday we took down a demon contractor right inside the temple. His eyes filled with disbelief. What? An actual flesh and blood demon contractor? She gave a firm nod. Spot on. And furthermore, the Inquisitor's gaze grew resolute. Though it pains me to believe it, if the temple is truly colluding with a demon contractor, and if they are actually gathering human sacrifices. Seeing the situation escalate, Richerry frantically reminded them, we're out of time here. The Inquisitor brushed past him. If you're scared, go hide in a corner, kid. You've done your job by leading us here. Olivier smiled and chatted with her. Your mindset has really matured in such a short amount of time. She immediately replied, I simply found my path by observing and reflecting on the Demon Slayer Knight's actions. Richerry stood rooted to the spot, watching the two of them walk away. He sighed and clutched his head. Good grief. What are they so confident about, charging in with absolutely zero preparation? Ugh, whatever. But it was clear he was heavily conflicted. After a moment of thought, Richerry decided to follow them inside. I swear this is going to take years off my life. The moment he stepped inside the building, Gareth Chen felt a wave of exhaustion. You guys, he glanced around the place. Are you guys seriously not coming down? He looked somewhat helplessly at the group of thugs he had just subdued. I'm all set to head down into the basement here. Chapter 18. Gareth Chen kicked the basement door wide open, revealing a staircase leading down. Gareth Chen thought with excitement. A secret underground passage. This definitely reeks of a local boss fight. Clearing this place and then logging out would be perfect. The Inquisitor gasped in surprise. Goodness, have you cleared out everything already? The other two chimed in with pure admiration. You really never show any mercy, sir. Spot on. Gareth glared at them and commanded, "If you're getting cold feet, then step back." So annoying. I've been waiting forever for these idiots. The Inquisitor tried to catch up. "No, please wait a moment." Gareth Tran quietly walked down the stairs. He froze and thought to himself, "What in the world is this?" An unsettling feeling washed over them. The Inquisitor followed behind and asked hesitantly, "This is very strange. Could it be? I can feel an incredibly strong demonic energy coming from below." The Inquisitor turned around and urged the other two, "Hurry up! It looks like they are plotting something down there." Olivier immediately began casting a spell. "Understood. Let's hurry." Gareth Tran thought to himself, "Now that I think about it, this is my first time partying up in this game. I wonder how realistic they made these companion NPCs." He led the whole group down. They're pretty fired up. Above the underground entrance, vegetables and fruits were scattered all over the floor. Deep inside the hidden passage, the group reached a door at the end of the underground corridor. The padlock was instantly sliced in half by a surge of power. Gareth Tran kicked the next door wide open. "Let's go!" The guys inside were getting anxious. "Is the summoning done yet? Damn it! Why did the hero have to show up right at this moment?" Gareth Tran stared dead at his opponents with a cold, piercing gaze. Meanwhile, Olivier closed his eyes and began preparing his magic. Gareth Tran was already condensing blood aura in the palm of his hand. The Inquisitor shouted, "That's right, your executioner has arrived." One of them decided to buy some time. "Go, we just need to hold them off a little longer." Dark energy gathered in his palm. "Arise, slaves of hell, show yourselves." With that, countless low-level demons born from white bones, soaked in demonic energy, appeared. Olivier asked the person next to him, "Can you cover me while I cast my spell?" He agreed. "That's way too easy." The Inquisitor fought with an undying faith. "The Lord is always with us." From behind, Gareth Tran charged forward. He declared, "Victory will belong to my blade." Gareth Tran single-handedly wiped out the demon horde. "Glory to heaven!" He confidently said, "I won't let the front line fall." Seeing this, the Inquisitor was deeply moved. She exclaimed, "You are absolutely amazing, sir, but there are just too many of them." The Inquisitor's eyes filled with sheer determination. "Even though I am still weak, I was still trained to hold this shield and protect the front line." Gareth Tran grumbled internally. "The ones you guys kill don't give me a single drop of experience points. But this quest..." "Don't tell me?" A voice rang out. "I have already prepared the flesh and blood for you. Give birth to darkness and bring death to this land." Higher-level undead skeletons were then summoned. The enemy sneered, "Gareth Tran, you will pay the price for your betrayal. Turn him into the very first sacrifice for the darkness." A massive barrage of dark aura blasted straight toward Gareth Tran. The two remaining teammates cried out in worry. "No, Sir Knight!" The Inquisitor herself also quickly turned her attention toward Gareth Tran. Seeing him surrounded, she screamed, "No!" As the Demon Slayer Knight, Gareth Tran's eyes flashed with a cold, sharp glint. A dark blue aura swirled around him, keeping the horde of skeletons completely at bay. The Inquisitor dashed forward and slashed through the horde. "I'm coming to save you!" Gareth Tran leaped high into the air, breaking free from that gloomy aura. He looked completely unharmed. The Inquisitor breathed a sigh of relief. "Just as I thought. This actually worked out perfectly." He brought his sword down on the demonic hands reaching up for him. "I'll wipe you all out at once." The blade pierced the ground, and the creeping dark energy triggered a massive tremor. His overwhelming sword intent struck down like a bolt of lightning. The Inquisitor had to use her shield to block the flying debris. She gasped in awe. "Incredible! What a terrifying power!" Meanwhile, Warren stood paralyzed, unable to believe his eyes. He coldly muttered his name, Gareth Tran. Radiating killing intent, Gareth shot a deadly glare at his opponent. His eyes reflected Warren's absolute terror. Blood trickled from Warren's eyes as a crushing pressure descended upon him. Warren desperately poured all his strength into summoning more monsters. "Kill him! Kill him right now! Hurry up and kill that bastard!" Gareth Tran broke through the skeleton encirclement and charged forward. Warren ran for his life, desperately backing away. "Somebody help me! I don't want to die!" One of his men panicked. "Wait! We're screwed if we run this way," Gareth Tran declared. Fall into the deepest pits of hell, you pathetic bugs. He unleashed a single sword strike at the group, sending blood spraying everywhere. Their bodies collapsed to the ground, soaked in pools of blood. The blood energy was slowly being absorbed into his body. Chapter 19. Gareth Churn let out a breath. Holy crap. I thought I was a goner. A system notification popped up. You just survived a short but intense solo battle. You have received the wounded status effect. Your HP has decreased. A series of similar alerts flooded his vision. He thought to himself, I didn't expect this skill to be so overpowered. Giving me such a god-tier move right at the start of the game? I wonder just how screwed up the difficulty of this game is going to be. Giving out free top-tier skills like a Dark Souls game? The difficulty is going to make me curse my lungs out even if I use absolutely everything I have. By the way, what the hell are my teammates doing? The magic staff in one of his party members' hands was radiating a blinding light. The Inquisitor charged forward as well. I'll finish my part too. Her eyes burned with fierce determination for her mission. The Inquisitor blitzed toward her opponents. She slammed her shield right into a guy's face. Face your divine punishment, Rachel asked impatiently. How much longer do I have to cover for you, mage? Olivia replied. It's my time to shine. A massive magic circle materialized on the ceiling, carrying a colossal amount of mana. She raised her staff high and commanded, Everyone, take cover! The sheer mana cascaded down over the entire area. Purge the wicked! Blue flames engulfed them as they screamed, It's so hot! I'm burning! Help! Gareth Churn indifferently watched them burn in the raging inferno. He thought to himself, Wait, did I accidentally say my thoughts out loud? I didn't actually mean to make them feel guilty. Rachel sighed in amusement. We've really got a whole bunch of geniuses gathered here, he asked in disappointment. Is that it? The Inquisitor reported. Knight, it looks like we have wiped out the rest of them here, Olivier said with regret. It would have been nice to catch one or two of them alive. Gareth Tran glanced to the side. He walked over to the guy and said, Looks like we have a perfect candidate right here. Warren growled. You are going to regret this. Before he could even finish, Gareth Tran shoved his hand down. He ordered coldly, Shut your mouth, you little worm. My name is not for filth like you to speak. Gareth Tran grabbed him by the collar and hoisted him up. Suddenly, the man let out a cold smirk. Warren began to laugh like a maniac. He replied, Say whatever you want. Have it your way. After all, we are just worms. We are absolutely nothing. But do not forget, our king is still out there. He raised his battered and bloody hand with desperate longing. From behind him, the sickening sound of dripping blood could be heard. The Inquisitor instantly sensed the danger. She screamed a warning. Dodge it, Demon Slayer Knight! A massive surge of demonic energy is coming from that direction! A terrifying aura of blood erupted right behind Warren. Gareth gritted his teeth, struggling to withstand the crushing pressure bearing down on him. The blood energy violently surged upward. Gareth Tran was violently blasted backward. The Inquisitor immediately dashed over, using her shield to catch him. She asked in a panic, Are you okay? Gareth Tran snapped back. Are you blind? He rubbed his aching body and groaned. My back. I already lowered my pain sensitivity, but this still hurts like hell. Rateri was speechless, exclaiming, My God, what kind of sick joke is this? Is this really something we can handle on our own? The summoned monster was a Noken, an aquatic demon known to crawl out of wells and feast on human flesh. Its fangs are packed with a deadly venom. They were up against something truly terrifying. Gareth Tran thought to himself, It sucks, but I never got a quest to stop the summoning, which means this is a mandatory event. The Noken locked its terrifying gaze onto them. It unhinged its massive jaw and lunged forward. Its grotesque body stretched out as it shot straight at them. The Inquisitor charged to the front and roared, Everyone, get behind me! She braced her shield to block the attack, praying out loud, Dear Lord, please grant me the strength to stand against this evil. The Noken slammed its massive head right into her shield. The immense pressure instantly cracked the ground beneath her feet. The Inquisitor let out a fierce battle cry to hold her ground. For now, the monster could not break through her defense. Gareth Tran thought to himself,
taking that head on with pure physical strength? Her raw power is absolutely insane.
Sure, she is incredibly strong, but could she not just dodge to the side? Riteri cried out. Are we really just going to stand here and take a beating?
Miss Mage, do you not know anything about this thing? Like a weak point we can target while we hold it off? She revealed, it is a demon known as a Nokken. Its fangs carry a lethal venom.
As for its weak point, Gareth Tran thought to himself, well, since she just pulled off such a badass block, I guess it is time for me to do my job as the DPS. He launched himself into the air, aiming straight for the monster's weak point. Just as Olivier had guessed, its weak point was right on its head. Jackson was approaching the knocker's body. His eyes flashed with bloodlust. An overwhelming aura slashed down, obliterating its head. The Inquisitor stared blankly as fresh blood sprayed right before his eyes. The other two were just as shocked. A massive amount of blood gushed out of the monster. But then, Gareth Chen noticed something was wrong. Chapter 20. Boom! A loud crash echoed out. He had cleanly severed the monster's head. The metallic stench of blood spread through the air, yet Gareth stood tall, completely unscathed. Walter couldn't hide his shock, seeing him defeat the monster so effortlessly. He stammered, What? How could he do that with just one strike? The girl from Walter's party was terrified, unable to believe her own eyes. She screamed at him. A knocker's scales are as hard as steel, and he just sliced through them in one hit? At this moment, Giggs's mind was in just as much turmoil as theirs. I'm wondering the exact same thing, but on the outside, he maintained a calm and casual demeanor. Most people play this game for the thrill of boss fights. You know, enjoying the mechanics based on HP loss, or breaking specific body parts. For example, the knocker has certain weak points on its body to help players beat it. But taking it down is still no easy feat, meaning no one expected its head to go flying from a single skill like this. He stood there, staring blankly at its severed head. Gareth Chen stared intently at the monster's head, lost in thought. In the original game, this boss didn't die this easily from a single headshot, did it? What were the devs thinking, designing a boss like this? Is it really over just like that? Or is there some hidden mechanic about to pop out of its head? While he was entirely focused on observing the head, the monster's headless body suddenly twitched. Hearing a noise, he glanced over, only for the monster's tail to suddenly whip straight toward him. A loud crash echoed throughout the dungeon. Rachel suddenly appeared in front of him, calling out in a panic, "Oh my God, Sir Gareth Chen!" Seeing the guy jump in to protect him, Gareth was a little surprised. Rachel turned back to look at him with a worried face. "You need to watch your blind spots too, sir." In his mind, Gareth Chen looked at him in a slight panic, flustered. "Oops, I got so distracted trying to play it cool with the severed head. Nice save, NPC." Rachel stepped back toward where Gareth Chen was standing, quietly observing his reaction. He observed Rachel with a dark gaze, silently recalling the game's storyline. Now that I look closely at this NPC under the light, his heart filled with excitement upon clearly seeing Rachel's appearance. Isn't this the exact character model for the thief class rep? Wait, which subclass was it again? I forgot. Rachel got a bit flustered and started sweating under his gaze. He stammered, "Haha, it's not like you're the type to get hurt by just a tail, sir. Did I poke my nose where it doesn't belong? Please don't glare at me like that. I'll back off right now." With that, his figure slowly backed away from him. Seeing his fearful reaction, Gareth Chen felt a bit awkward internally. No, I was just..." Even though he felt embarrassed inside, on the outside he maintained his cold expression and stayed completely silent. "Well, whatever. I'll figure out whether to add him to the party later." He turned to face the monster, his grip tightening on the hilt of his sword. Seeing him remain silent, Rachel wisely kept backing away. "First, I need to finish cleaning up this piece of trash." Despite having its head cut off, the monster was still alive and effortlessly stood back up to face him. A stream of purple liquid morphed into a fake head. Ding! The knocker has lost its head. The demon has locked onto the sacrifice, struggling for its life, striking at its true weak point. Suddenly, the monster thrashed around violently. The fake liquid head couldn't even hold its shape. In this world, the NPCs usually think its weak point is the head. Long story short, explaining the whole thing is just too tedious. But its real weak point is a bit annoying: the reverse scale. That specific scale grows right under its chin, often considered the fatal flaw of Eastern dragons. The creatures in Hero Legends also share this reverse scale as their weak point. Normally, it doesn't just show up right away. You have to whittle down its HP to a certain threshold before it reveals itself. He immediately dashed toward where the monster was standing. Gareth watched it thrash around in a desperate struggle, making him coldly sneer. Clinging to life so stubbornly is utterly useless. His sharp, cold voice rang out. Your little struggle ends right here. At the exact same time, the sword in his hand was enveloped by a deep purple glow, unleashing a demonic energy. His mind was racing with chaotic thoughts. Normally, just stabbing the reverse scale finishes the job, but to make it dramatic, using piercing thrust would be so damn cool. The moment that idea crossed his mind, he took action. His deep voice boomed. Earth shatter! The power surging through the sword in his hand began to condense, compressing into a brilliant purple sphere of light. From within that sphere of light, a sharp blade formed, aiming straight at the knocker. The sheer air pressure whipped up a fierce gale that blew wildly across the room. He suddenly froze, looking down at the ground. Huh? Before he could even unleash his skill, the dragon had already collapsed dead on the floor. Its reverse scale had now been blown into a massive gaping hole. The floor was now covered in splattered pools of blood. Gareth Chen furrowed his brows as he observed the monster. Its body was now glowing faintly on the ground, leaving him utterly confused. What the hell was that just now? I was clearly about to use Earth Shatter, wasn't I? I already dumped all my leftover skill points into Earth Shatter. And because I was short on skill points, I never even learned Piercing Thrust. But it definitely triggered right when I wished for a piercing skill. What was that? A recognition error? Or a game bug? A frantic voice suddenly rang out, cutting off his train of thought. Gareth Tran! The Inquisitor tightly bound the struggling Qatar on the ground. She snapped furiously. How could you do that to the king? You must never betray the king! Her resolute eyes met his as she asked, Demon Knight, will you execute this man yourself? He thought to himself, I should just finish this quest first. I can send the bug report after I log out. Gareth Tran stated seriously, there is still one more enemy. He furrowed his brows slightly, his voice cold and indifferent. All right, keep blabbering. With that, he slowly walked over to the man, struggling on the ground. Let us see how much of my wrath you can endure. Walter stared in pure terror as he approached. The sharp blade in his hand slowly pressed against the man's throat. Walter was paralyzed with absolute dread, tears streaming down his face as he stared blankly at the approaching steel. His voice dropped to a deadly whisper. I am quite curious myself. Sensing his intense anger, Olivier softened her voice and pleaded, Wait, Sir Knight! Hearing her intervention, Richard furrowed his brows in annoyance. Are you seriously butting in again? Noticing his frustration, she sighed and explained, Please make it a clean kill. We need to submit his remains as evidence to the church. Olivier stood behind him and urged, Come on, hurry it up. That guy has been talking my ear off this whole time. Hearing the sheer impatience in her voice, a cold sweat completely soaked the man's shirt. Gareth Tran did not reply. He simply furrowed his brows, glaring down at the man's face. Quick as a flash, he ended it with a single, fatal strike. The man's head flew from his shoulders, rolling across the dirt. The cowardly begging finally ceased, leaving only the sound of blood pooling across the dungeon floor. The group stared coldly at the severed head. Olivier spoke with quiet indifference. Now let us hurry, so everyone can attend the soul-comforting ceremony for the sacrifices. Suddenly, Rachel spoke up hesitantly. Excuse me, The Inquisitor and Olivier turned to look at him. He bowed respectfully and asked, "Could I possibly ask a favor of you all?" He hesitated before saying, "We just want to keep one of them alive." The dungeon was now littered with countless corpses. Rachel spoke with heavy grief. "So many of my comrades and loved ones are lying right here among these bodies." His voice was filled with sorrow, unable to even meet their eyes as he said, "I want to give them at least one chance at revenge. To send them off properly." Seeing this, the Inquisitor responded firmly. "Your situation is truly pitiful, but the law strictly forbids personal vengeance. Instead, the Grand Church will hold a requiem mass for the victims." Gareth Tran stayed silent and simply turned away with a cold expression. Noticing him leave, Olivier's eyes followed him. Hearing her words, Rachel interrupted with a dark tone. "Oh, a requiem mass hosted by the exact same church that murdered our families? That sounds incredibly comforting." Catching his heavy sarcasm, the Inquisitor snapped back furiously. "What did you just say? Do you not realize that those demon worshippers were nothing but corrupted heretics?" Meanwhile, Gareth Tran was standing in front of a man trembling among the pile of corpses. She grew even more agitated, her voice rising as she glared at Rachel. "Other churches will conduct a thorough investigation here, and the requiem mass for the victims will be held with the utmost solemnity." He scoffed with a bitter smirk at her explanation. "Right, that sounds perfectly reliable. You aren't just planning to bury them alongside those demon worshippers and label them as common thieves, are you?" Seeing his increasingly insolent attitude, the Inquisitor flared up. "How dare you? We only convicted them according to the strict laws regarding theft." Their argument showed no signs of stopping. Hearing the Inquisitor's absurd logic, he could no longer hold back his emotions. He shouted in sheer frustration, "Forcing innocent souls to pay for crimes they didn't commit is so incredibly solemn." She refused to back down, firing right back. "Are you trying to justify theft by using the souls of the dead as a cheap excuse?" Unable to stomach her ridiculous words any longer, Rachel gritted his teeth in pure rage. Veins bulged clearly on his face as he spat out every single word. Who is using what as an excuse? Suddenly, a figure was violently hurled to the ground, letting out an agonizing groan. The abrupt intrusion made both of them jump in absolute shock. Gareth Tran walked over to them and said nonchalantly, "Arrest him." Hearing his casual tone, she shouted indignantly, "Sir Knight!" He furrowed his brows and looked at her. "If you had just arrested those pickpockets according to the law, you would have easily found these parasites by now." Feeling his sharp reprimand, she stammered defensively. "Well, that is..." He turned to look at Rachel and stated, "You better keep this in mind." His voice remained flat as he continued, "If that demon manages to escape, your head will be rolling right alongside his." Despite the heavy threat, Rachel felt no fear. Instead, he replied with total seriousness, Yeah, I guarantee that is not going to happen." Ding! Foresee the bad omens, eliminate all enemies, relocate to the church, and find the traitor within the church. Seeing the prompt pop up, he sheathed his sword on his back. Gareth Tran cheered inwardly. Awesome. This main quest is finally wrapping up. The Inquisitor glared furiously into his face. Under her intense gaze, Gareth Tran felt a bit awkward, his mind scrambling in panic. "Don't look at me like that, little kimchi pancake. This perfectly matches my character settings, and I really need to boost my affinity with my future teammates," he mused to himself. "Anyway, even with the pain settings dialed down, my body still feels completely stiff. Right now, I just want to take a hot shower and crash on my bed. I should probably log out now and get some rest." The moment the thought of resting crossed his mind, Gareth Tran smiled faintly and said without hesitation, "Log out." Ding! A red notification unexpectedly popped up. "Command unavailable." Seeing that message, his entire body froze. Thinking it was just a minor technical glitch, he patiently repeated, "Log out." Ding! The red notification popped up once again. Command unavailable. Only then did the sheer gravity of the situation hit him, leaving him staring blankly into space. Chapter 21. Log out. Log out! Log out! The Inquisitor was still standing stiffly in front of him. Gareth Tran frantically read every single notification that appeared. Command cannot be executed. A massive wall of red text flooded his vision, entirely made up of unexecutable commands. Gareth Tran stared dumbfounded at the endless sea of red lines. His brain had completely short-circuited. Gareth Tran could only stand there, paralyzed, watching the red notifications scroll by. Suddenly, a terrifying realization dawned on him, cold sweat pouring down his back. A logout bug in a virtual reality game. Have the devs lost their damn minds? His mind was now flooded with sheer panic. If news of a bug like this leaked out, the servers would definitely be shut down immediately. Wait, or is the command locked because I'm currently inside a dungeon? A voice suddenly cut through the knight's chaotic train of thought. The Inquisitor suddenly turned to Olivier and asked, "Did you see anything?" She turned back to look toward where he was standing and muttered, "I didn't see a single thing." Suddenly, her eyes widened in shock. Olivier's words now echoed in her mind. Normally, someone possessed by a parasitic demon would lose their sanity and turn into a soulless husk. But on the contrary, that kid seems to have suppressed the demon, taken control, and is now using its power. The Inquisitor suddenly froze, her hands tightening around her mace, her face full of caution. Regaining her composure, she gripped her mace tightly with both hands. At that moment, Gareth Chen suddenly turned and walked away. Seeing his actions, she was taken aback. Bewildered, she asked, "Where are you going?" His cold, sharp eyes turned to her. Gareth Chen growled, emphasizing every single word. "I am going to purge the corrupted one who colluded with the demons." The two of them stood behind him, quietly observing his actions. Meanwhile, Gareth Chen kept tapping at the empty air, repeatedly muttering, "Log out. Log out." Seeing his strange behavior, Olivier turned to speak with her. "His condition does seem highly unusual, but do you sense any demonic aura?" The Inquisitor hesitated, observing him before replying. "No, it hasn't reached a concerning level yet. However, right now he was only focused on finding a way back home." Gareth Chen had no time to care about what they were saying. He just kept repeating the same two words. Log out. Log out. Seeing him like this, the Inquisitor couldn't help but say anxiously, "He must still be fighting a fierce battle against it right now." The two of them stared at his back, the Inquisitor's eyes now full of determination, as if she wanted to help him. Zachary also noticed his strange behavior, and asked curiously, "Is something wrong with the knight?" Hearing his question, Olivier explained gently, "It's hard to jump to any hasty conclusions at this moment." Hearing Olivier say that, he smiled cheerfully and said, "That's true. You did mention you haven't been serving him for very long. He doesn't exactly seem like the type to share much about himself either." Hearing his carefree words, Olivier couldn't help but sigh. "You really do have a keen eye for observation." Pleased by her praise, Zachary smirked smugly. "I'm just a lowly thief after all. I rely entirely on my ability to read the room just to put food on the table and clothes on my back." Standing from a distance, the Inquisitor heard his nonchalant remarks and angrily turned to glare at him. Seeing her furious reaction, Olivier stepped in to mediate. "Watch your mouth!" Sensing her killing intent, Zachary fearfully hid away. "Oops, my bad," Olivier said seriously. "Anyway, unless you plan to use divine power to escort him, it's best to finish off anyone who made a pact with a demon before taking them along. Who knows what kind of tricks they might pull." The man he had captured lay motionless and unconscious. Hearing this, Zachary looked toward her and said casually, "Would he still be a threat if I sliced all his tendons and cut out his tongue?" The dungeon floor was covered in patches of blood. The two of them continued talking as they followed behind Gareth Chen. Olivier spoke up. "Demonic power is completely different from ordinary magic. That method is a temporary fix at best. We absolutely cannot let our guard down. Zachary replied seriously, I will finish him off before the sun rises today, so rest assured. Olivier turned to the Inquisitor and said, Let's head up, hero! Hearing this, she was startled and replied, Ah, yes. She turned her head and headed toward the dungeon exit. The Inquisitor was now stepping closer to the stairs leading up from the dungeon. Her eyes were full of unwavering resolve as she looked up. Please guide us to walk the righteous path. Meanwhile, some vegetables were rolling around on the floor. The Solomon Commercial District. The sunset was slowly fading below the horizon. The group was walking out of a vegetable shop. Zachary quietly observed him before speaking in a casual tone. We thieves never forget a grudge. Hearing him say that, Gareth Chen just kept walking indifferently. Getting no response, Zachary continued. And we also etch our debts of gratitude deep into our hearts. I will definitely repay this favor. Gareth Chen just replied flatly, There's no need for that. Seeing his polite refusal, Zachary quickly took long strides to walk right beside him. He smiled and said, Even if you say there's no need, I'll still do it. Gareth Chen rejected his offer once again. I told you, there's no need. Inside, he was actually panicking a lot. Other than letting me log out, I don't need a single damn thing. Ding! Ominous omen. Eliminate all enemies. Proceed to the temple. Find the traitors within the temple. Seeing the notification pop up, he angrily cursed inwardly. This is not the time for a damn quest window to pop out. Let me log out right now, you piece of trash game. Zachary sadly took a different path. If you hate this place that much, I'll take my leave first. He didn't pay any attention to his nonsense, his mind racing with chaotic thoughts. While the logout feature is completely busted, the AI's response sensitivity is insanely top tier. He exhaustedly looked at the notification panel and said, Log out. Log out. I manually opened the settings menu earlier and spammed it, but it still didn't work. Ding! Command cannot be executed. His hand repeatedly mashed the logout button, but to no avail. Now he was starting to feel terrified. If I really can't log out like this, what is going to happen to me? I live completely alone on top of that. As a webtoon author currently enjoying some free time with no looming deadlines, there are absolutely no colleagues who would come knocking on my door to check up on me. I already had the time to brag to my friends about playing Legend of Heroes, so they definitely won't bother contacting me or dropping by my room for a long while. Obviously, if I just stay stuck inside this gaming device without the specialized life support fluid, he suddenly remembered. Right, the device's hardware is still working perfectly fine. VR gaming capsules are always equipped with built-in safety features, just in case any unexpected emergencies happen. Now, all he could do was stand in a panic and scream at the sky. Emergency protocol! Force shut down the gaming capsule! Ding! A terrifying red notification popped up right before his eyes. Command cannot be executed. Panicking, he grabbed his hair in pure dread. Damn it all. The group standing behind him watched his frantic breakdown in stunned silence. Gareth screamed at the top of his lungs. Log out! Force quit! Shut it down! Hurry up and shut down! Damn it, you piece of trash game! Shut down right now! Startled by his erratic behavior, Olivier frantically asked, What is happening, Demon Knight? Speak to me! The Inquisitor rushed over in a panic. Why are you acting like a madman? Can you not hear me? Hearing the commotion, the guards quickly rushed over. Who goes there? Seeing things escalate, Olivier grew anxious. Oh no, the guards! The Inquisitor's expression darkened as she glanced from the guards back to Gareth. She muttered anxiously, If he loses his mind and starts a massacre right here. She pressed her lips together tightly. Up until this very moment, I was completely blind to it. There is clearly so much I fail to understand. But I suppose that is just how the world works. With unwavering resolve, she stepped forward and launched herself into the air. Even the things I thought I knew, I was completely oblivious to. She gripped her mace tightly, aiming right at him. The Inquisitor let out an ear-piercing battle cry. Snap out of it! She slammed her mace directly into his face. The brutal strike left him stunned, his eyes wide in absolute shock. What the hell? Standing over him, she spoke in a remarkably calm voice. As expected, a blow like that isn't enough to take you down.
The hit finally snapped his senses back into place. What the hell is going on? What kind of garbage script is this? Why is the game forcing the plot to move forward like this? Is this some forced plot twist? Is she actually a true demon worshiper? Her sharp, cold eyes stayed locked onto him without a single blink. He cursed bitterly in his mind. Why the hell did she just attack me? And why isn't my pain dampening setting working anymore? That hurt like crazy.
Seeing his completely bewildered expression, the Inquisitor smiled. She said gently, "Regardless, I am so relieved to see that your right arm has finally calmed down." With his left cheek completely swollen and his nose bleeding from her strike, he stared at her blankly. "Wait, what?" The Inquisitor blushed as she explained. "Was the demon you are suppressing not trying to take control just now?" She looked surprisingly proud of herself, genuinely believing she had just done something useful for him. Gareth slowly got to his feet, but her words left him even more confused. His brain just completely shut down. She thumped her chest firmly to show her absolute faith. "Do not worry, I do not doubt you for a second." His reflection shone clearly in her vibrant teal eyes. She spoke with absolute certainty. "I believe that you will ultimately master that demon. You will never bow to it." Gripping her weapon tightly, she declared with confidence, "So, if this ever happens again, please leave it to me." The Inquisitor shouted with fierce determination, a blazing aura erupting behind her. "I will buy you time until you regain your senses, no matter the cost." Watching her dramatic display, he couldn't help but be suspicious. What the hell is she blabbering about? He turned to Olivier, his mind a complete mess. Why is she acting like this all of a sudden? Care to explain, great mage? Seeing Olivier's troubled expression, his suspicion only grew. "Seriously, what is going on?" She looked at him and asked gently, "Are you absolutely sure you are all right?" Hearing her question, it finally clicked in his head. "Okay, I get the context now, but why did she just snap like that? They just keep spouting whatever nonsense they want. Is this some kind of pre-programmed dialogue?" Annoyed, he snapped, "Are your eyes just for show?" The realization hit him. Wait, so while I was busy struggling with the logout button, the demon in my arm was actually trying to go berserk? Gareth stared down at his right arm as a sinister voice echoed in his memory. "You will do wonderfully." Remembering how the demon had tried to hijack his body filled him with rage. Honestly, this should have been the perfect moment for his past trauma of almost being possessed to violently resurface. "Man, my immersion is completely ruined thanks to this stupid bug. Usually, I would have instantly picked up on this stuff without even thinking." Getting back into character, he said coldly, "I do not have time to waste on fools who cannot even see what is right in front of them." Olivier calmly cut him off. "No. Whether you like it or not, I still need a clear answer from you." She stepped closer to him, her voice firm. "Tell me the truth." Standing behind him, she asked respectfully, "Is there truly nothing wrong with that right arm?" His gray eyes shot a sidelong glance at her. "Oh?" he scoffed, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "What is the matter? Did that suddenly offend your precious sense of hypocrisy?" Unfazed by his harsh words, Olivier calmly explained, "That is not what I meant. We are simply concerned that the entity you are suppressing," he snarled angrily, cutting her off. "I will continue to hunt and slaughter demons, and that is all that matters." He shot Olivier a dangerously cold glare. Gripping his right arm tightly, he gritted his teeth in irritation. "I do not care what any of you think. I am only traveling with you because we share the same goal of exterminating those demonic bastards. Instead of wasting time spouting this utter nonsense, you should be doing your actual job and killing another demon." He spat out the words without even bothering to turn around and look at them. Seeing how utterly stubborn he was, Olivier maintained her steady tone. "I am simply asking if there is a possibility that you might turn into that demon." He ground his teeth together. The strike to his left cheek had already formed a dark bruise. Growing increasingly irritated, Gareth snapped. The answer is obvious. The Inquisitor sharply interrupted their tense exchange. Obviously, that is never going to happen, Great Mage Olivier. As she spoke, she bowed her head respectfully. She placed a hand over her heart, a gesture of absolute devotion. Just as I said before, I have complete and utter faith in his mind and his willpower. Since humans are beings that can't achieve perfection alone, we are taught never to forget to trust each other as we move forward. Because of that, I truly believe our meeting and this journey we share holds a deep meaning. The sunset bathed her in a peaceful glow, and her emerald eyes gazed at him with unwavering certainty. And so, just like the divine, I will wait for you, and I will always stand by your side. I will endure it! He didn't say a word, just quietly watched her, listening to her unwavering words of trust until he fully awakened. Hearing her heartfelt words, he pursed his lips, completely at a loss for words. A moment later, after regaining his composure, he let out a long, exhausted sigh. He turned to leave, tossing a single remark over his shoulder. Your taste in people hasn't improved one bit, has it? Hearing this, the Inquisitor immediately replied, Huh? My eyes? I don't have any injuries there, but thank you for worrying about me. Olivier spoke up to clarify. I don't think he was worried about an injury. Hearing this, she hesitated for a moment. Huh? Really? Well then. Suddenly, she looked toward him, but he had taken advantage of her distraction to make a run for it. Seeing him flee, she yelled out, Hey! Where are you going? You should at least say something before running off, he thought to himself as he ran. I'm seriously going to die of embarrassment. Even if this is part of the storyline, we haven't even known each other for that long. If they keep showering me with this kind of affection and boundless trust, a hardcore RPG otaku like me will have no choice but to offer up my entire soul. His heart was soaring with joy, but his logic was screaming at him to run for his life. Whatever. Let's just log out. It's bound to work eventually anyway. The Inquisitor smiled as she spoke to Olivier. We should probably chase after him, Grand Mage. Hearing this, Olivier could only sigh. He ran off again. This is basically elder abuse, you know. Saying that, she closed her eyes. Olivier's voice was steady as she asked, Is this really going to be okay, hero? The Inquisitor looked surprised. What do you mean? Olivier explained her concerns. The power we saw from him underground far surpasses anything we have ever witnessed before. But at the same time, it is incredibly unstable. If he gets swallowed by the demon and goes berserk, could we actually stop him? To be completely honest, I have no confidence in that whatsoever. Olivier looked at her seriously. You seem to have a lot on your mind too, hero. The Inquisitor hesitated slightly upon hearing this. She lowered her head and spoke. Just a moment ago, I saw fear in the Demon Knight's eyes. What else could possibly make him so afraid? It has to be the presence of the demon in his arm, threatening to take over his mind. He looked so pitiful trying to fight off the demon's control over his body. The Inquisitor spoke with deep seriousness. Do not doubt the light that exists within, and do not succumb to fear, for evil will use that weakness to devour us. I do not have the power to purify his arm. I don't have the strength to save his soul either, and I don't even have the eloquence to offer him words of encouragement. The more she spoke, the more helpless and inadequate she felt, but then her eyes filled with determination. Even so, I still want to soothe the Demon Knight's fears. I want to believe in his goodwill, the very thing he has been protecting from that demon. With the combat power I possess, I will protect his will. Hearing her heartfelt resolve, Olivier gave a soft smile. She gave a gentle nod. Turning to follow her, Olivier said, Though I have my own shortcomings, I suppose I should do my best to pitch in as well. Hearing this, the Inquisitor's voice rang out with pure excitement. I look forward to working with you. Together, the two of them headed in the direction he had fled. Why aren't they following me anymore? Ding! Ominous omen. Proceed to the temple and uncover the traitors within. I can't just walk into the temple all by myself. The sunlight beamed down on the magnificent temple. Ding! Ominous omen. Proceed to the temple and uncover the traitors within. Inside the temple, the figures of two familiar people stood upon the podium. Seeing him casually leaning against the wall, the crowd inside the temple began whispering angrily. Why would the divine envoy bring someone with such an evil aura? He's not even trying to hide that terrifying demonic energy. Hearing the commotion below, the Inquisitor slammed her staff against the table and shouted, "Silence!" She spoke with absolute authority. Has everyone gathered? The head bishop replied respectfully, yes. Although there are 7 people we could not contact, everyone else is present. Her sharp gaze swept over the crowd below as she declared, very well. From this moment on, in the name of a heretic inquisitor, the trial officially begins. Hearing her words, the crowd below was left completely speechless, in shock. Every single one of you will be tested for your sins, and those who are innocent will be set free. Standing beside her, he slowly drew his sword. Her voice rang out ice cold. You blasphemers who dare to pose as servants of the gods, you will face the righteous judgment of justice! She glared furiously at the terrified crowd below. Ding! Ominous omen. Uncover the traitors, and either subdue or eliminate them.